Was good?
Yeah, you sound good.
And we're live.
Nice. I'm fashioning a dispenser in the
Your wine box.
my wine box. Yeah.
What do we
And
have
then
today? A nice Merlot, perhaps a cab.
There's a dark red wine blend. It says California on it.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a box of wine. I'm gonna drink it like a fucking hamster, like I always do. So I have to grab a glass.
Yeah, it's always fun.
Yeah. Okay, let's test it. I'll tell you how it is. Hold on.
Okay.
It's good.
Yeah,
It's good. The wine's not meant to breathe in the mouth,
It's not. You look like a professional sommelier over there.
Yeah. Professional Somalian. Yeah, well, so that's for later. Okay.
Dude, I had to go get my driver's license renewed this morning.
Okay. Did you get a new picture?
Yeah, I did. And I had an appointment, and it still took 3 hours.
What?
Yeah.
Why even do an appointment?
I don't know. I had an appointment at 10:30.
It was like
I got
a common thing. Like, it wasn't even like
no. I got there at 10, half hour early.
Maybe.
Oh,
glass.
Oh, fancy.
Oh.
You got glassware now.
What time in the day was it?
So I got there at 10. My appointment was at 10:30. I stood in line for 30 minutes to get to the appointment desk. So fortunately, I got there early. And then they had me go to a computer and fill out some stuff. And then I had to wait for another hour and a half, 2 hours. Yeah. I left like 1 o'clock. So 3 hours overall.
Did you have to take a test?
No, I had to do the eye test thing, but that I didn't have to do any sort of test other than that. Yeah, so it should be here in a couple of weeks.
That's like, it's rude that they make you do that and then they take that much of your life away from you.
Yeah, exactly. Because I feel like the last time I went to the DMV for something, I didn't make an appointment and it was still 3 hours. So what?
Yeah, and you're like, well, that's on me, I guess.
Right. If you make an appointment, it's like weeks out before you can get in. Like I think I made this appointment like 3 weeks ago, maybe more.
Well, I don't want to make everybody listen to me eat.
What are you having, by the way?
Yogurt and graham cracker. No.
Oh, your thing. Okay.
It's not my thing. It's I forgot to eat on the way home on a recording night. And I don't know what to make. And Natasha's always like, get some. She makes a bowl and then I eat. If it weren't for her, I'd be starving.
It's kind of your thing.
Yeah. All right. To start things off, let us play. This clip is amazing to me. It's definitely visual.
Okay.
I mean, the audio is 100% audio, but you have to see what's going on here. So we're inside an elevator, and there's just a rooster in an elevator.
I see it.
Doors open, walks out like a rooster, and then slowly leans back, puffs himself up. Fucking going upstairs to do that.
That's
Can you imagine
funny.
living in that building and just some asshole
God,
upstairs every day?
I'd be so annoyed.
We're not gonna let this die. We keep our Norm streak going, and as Tom did, we'll keep the OJ jokes keep going. I don't remember this one. We played sort of some of our favorites. I don't remember this one.
On Friday, the Juice officially endorsed Bill Clinton for president, adding, quote, "I'd like to help him any way I can." To which the president replied, "Well, there is one thing."
That might be the one that got him fired.
It might be. For the audio only listeners, he shows a picture of Hillary.
I said it, Alan.
Oh,
Maybe
you
you
did?
should
Okay.
listen. Um,
I'm too busy laughing, I think.
oh, damn it. Good call. I caught Mike with an oopsie when I was listening to Hunk with Mike Bridenstine this week. I sent it to him. He's like, oh, shit, you got me.
Get a little bit. Versus the Gypsy by the Ink Spots. Dirty Damn Gypsy came in and read their palm and did.
A dirty damn gypsy.
Gypsy came in and read their palm. Dirty Damn Gypsy came.
Yeah, that's right, Mike.
I had a good friend whose mother was Roma.
You calling all are you calling all Romas dirty damn gypsies? Alan?
No, I'm not.
What about that
I'm
made
not.
you think of Romas, Alan?
They're often referred to in that terminology.
Mm.
She was really cool.
You call her DDG?
No. She was super cool. She had a restaurant in San Francisco for a while. All like Czechoslovakian
Romanian.
food or something like that, you know?
Yeah. I know that not all Romas are from Romania, but
No.
dude, I was listening to I don't listen every week, but did you put on the today's Underworld podcast?
No, I didn't.
Did you see the title?
No, I didn't.
It's Andrew Tate.
No shit.
Yeah, it's really good.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listen to them. I like save up shows, and I listen to them like, you know.
Yeah.
Kind of binge them.
Yeah, I tend to do that too, especially when they have a series, right?
Oh yeah, Andrew Tate and the Romanian Mob.
Yeah, it's really good.
I'll check it out.
I'm probably 2/3 of the way through it.
Nice.
Always happy when I do put them on, but it's kind of far between.
Yeah, and the way they do ads is super annoying.
Yeah, I can't stand that. Yeah, where it just interrupts.
Yeah.
But I mean, I get it. That works for them.
Yeah, I understand. It's just,
I mean, it works for their style, but
yeah, it does.
I guess it does. I don't know. I don't like it. So, speaking of things I don't like, these fucking kids, man, they're roasting us on shit they weren't even alive for. I don't like it. These fucking kids. You got kids doing 9/11 jokes.
Ooh, wow.
Is this the Twin Towers? Yeah. What day is it? September 10th, 2001. Oh, thank God, I made it in time. I just wanted to tell you, everyone in these 2 buildings, let everyone know there'll be a toilet paper shortage in 2020.
You need to relax.
Okay, he got me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nameless sent that one in. Oh, I think Thrash sent in that OJ one. Christian sent this one in. Christian's been following that NASCOM account too. We got a couple new NASCOM drops.
Something about this track that gives me an edge.
Let's listen along what Bubba says. That Gibbs boy, he's coming, folks.
These 2 boys are banging.
Here they come. Right back in the hole.
Yeah, I think he'll come this time.
And Ty Gibbs really tight on the bottom. Well, we got quite the kerfuffle right there.
What? The what?
Bowman's coming.
As Tyler Reddick tries to go on the inside of William Byron.
So, who's the hardest guy in the Cup Series?
About 6 or 8 inches.
And Bell's coming. Come on, give me all you got, baby.
Christopher, you were coming. There's something about
Oh, wait, one more time.
this track that gives me an edge.
All right, you know what? Do you have words where you're just like, I can understand them in context, but like I've accepted the fact that I just don't know. And it's not important to me to know what an edgelord is, but I feel like my idea of what they're talking about can't possibly be what they're talking about.
Yeah, I think it's probably not. Because I know what you're thinking.
When people say an edgelord, they mean like straddling a fence on a topic, right?
I think it means somebody who likes to have spicy takes for the fun of having spicy takes.
But not enough to be like fully extreme. I feel like that's got to be a part of it, right? You can't be an edgelord and say things that are like.
I think some of the culture war stuff can be edgelordy,
where you're sort of instigating it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess I wasn't that far off, but definitely not. Sounds like
the lady that did the baby pride clothes in Target last year, and then did the genderless bathrooms in the airport this year. Just trying to sort of, I would say that's probably close.
Okay, I see.
I could be off too, though. That's just how I take it. Yeah.
See, I thought edgelords were like what people call us, where it's like, oh yeah, you can't commit to one party or something.
Oh,
Just spilled a bunch of something.
me and the boys be edging. You know.
Yeah, you're lucky it's on several pages away. Oh man, Thrash sent in like 100 clips of this guy. He's like this British guy that wears a turtleneck and he does videos, interviews, kind of like the Between Two Ferns style.
Okay.
And he's very like smug. We've played some clips from him before. Thrash sent in like a dozen clips, and I just saved the first one to put into the show because I thought it was funny enough.
Okay.
Share this tab.
I don't know if I have IBS.
Right.
I might do, I might not.
Because you might have IBS, but we think my wife's got IDS.
What's that?
Irritable Down syndrome. It's a real kicker because I guess one of the main upsides of Down syndrome is that they're pretty happy, but not my wife. It's harder to diagnose in women. Goes unnoticed. Claire Balding.
Yeah.
She's got it. Must do.
I don't think so.
Broad back. Love sauces.
Oh.
You do the maths.
Right.
She can't.
I don't know who Claire Balding is. I think that's some niche thing.
I don't either, but that's very funny.
Need you to get the joke, yeah. Irritable Down syndrome. We're bad people.
You know, all in good fun.
Yeah, all in good fun. Oh yeah. Like people that give a hard time about. I hate that it's kind of become a crusade to be like, I want to say the R word. I didn't like want to. I just thought it was not a big deal to say it in some context. Like,
Yeah, it was just part of our lexicon back.
yeah,
then.
and you know, again, like I say it most of the times we talk about it, it's like, why do you think that I'm talking about a handicapped or mentally disabled person? Like, that's kind of on you that you think that that's what I'm talking about. Like, I'm talking about someone who's not getting it. And I think that that's a fantastic word to describe them with.
Sure.
But, like, it's not a good word to describe someone that apparently you think this word means. Like, yeah. Not to mention, like, every other insulting word, like moron, is all like derivative of the same chart where it was like IQ based,
Yeah.
That's okay.
Such a maroon.
Yeah. Yep. Mongoloid. Trains. Oh, dude, this one's kind of a heartstrings tugger. This is like a behind the scenes interview or an interview with Steve Martin talking about John Candy after he passed, and there some a cut. So there's a scene at the end of the movie where John Candy's character, which kids, if you haven't seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, it's the only Thanksgiving movie. So
yeah.
Like there's a whole lane of road trip comedies which are fun to watch anyways, and that's what this is. But it's also a Thanksgiving movie, and come Thanksgiving, you're like, I mean, I can't think of another Thanksgiving movie. I like
There's
to watch
lots of
everything.
Christmas movies, but not Thanksgiving. No,
That's where we got this from.
Oh, how about
God
that?
damn it! That's
right.
where we got this from.
Isn't that
Isn't
something?
that something?
Yeah, it's John Candy saying that from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So here is Steve Martin talking about his coworker. What do they call that? Co-actor.
His fellow actor, yeah, his colleague.
What do they call
there's
that when they're in a movie together?
Oh, co-star.
Co-star. Thanks, Alan.
Andy was very sensitive and very complex, and we really loved each other. I had a beautiful scene. Look, I'm not going to read this speech, but it's that long. We're at a train station, and he gives an entire explanation of his life. And I was opposite him. I was like weeping as he was performing it. And it was all cut. And so I don't know why it was cut, except for tempo, and maybe you're at the end and you don't want to hear a long speech. It was cut down to a line or two.
I don't have a home. Marie's been dead for 8 years.
There was a line I loved. It says, I sort of attach myself to people from time to time, like with you, especially around the holidays. I can take it in March, July, October, but it gets hard And then he said, this time I couldn't let go.
Wow.
But like, how do people die?
I mean, you could tell that was very genuine. Very genuine.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Steve Martin movie that's not Planes, Trains, and Automobiles?
The Jerk.
Ah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, that's my
I
favorite
like-
Steve Martin movie. Period.
I think Roxanne's my favorite.
You know, when you said Roxanne, I thought of the man with two brains, no brains, without a brain. I don't think I've
Oh.
seen Roxanne.
Really?
Yeah.
Where he's a firefighter?
No, I've never seen it.
Oh man, it's so good.
Really?
He has a really long nose. That's the whole thing.
Oh shit!
Gag. in
Yeah,
the
I've
movie.
seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Dirty Rotten Scoundrels a lot.
That I also really like that one.
Yeah, it's a lot of lines from
The
that.
cork on your fork.
Yeah. Why does he have a cork on his fork? To protect him. Yeah. Oklahoma. Banging your pots
That
around.
was a really fun movie.
Keep banging your pots around. You won't have any pots to bang on. Oh, okay, you think you did.
Oh man, I haven't thought about that movie in a while.
It's a good
Should
movie.
watch it again.
It used to be on Comedy Central like every weekend.
All the time, yeah.
What else we got here in a little secret track here? Some floor psychology of floor patterns in carpets. This is becoming progressively serious.
Okay.
Carpets with ugly patterns, it's because they want you to find it unappealing, so you shift your focus towards the game tables. And Disney's Main Street is painted this pink color because it overstimulates the red receptors in our eyes until they become fatigued, which makes the surrounding foliage appear more vibrant because the green receptors are just working overtime. Another way that businesses use floor design to alter our behavior is by using black and white tiles in busy areas like mall walkways, because it tricks our brain into thinking that the floor is uneven, so we want to walk faster to escape it. And carpeted floors encourage customers to walk slower and stay longer, so department stores will often place carpets in areas where customers are more likely to browse and discover products that they didn't initially intend to buy.
That's why you always have that racetrack around it. In the center.
Yeah.
Duty-free stores maximize sales by forcing you to take a winding pathway that's designed to expose you to as much merchandise as possible.
IKEA.
I don't know about that one. Yeah, they're like duty-free stores always do this. It's like, yeah, because they're the only places that want to maximize profits by keeping you wandering. Like, I think that's just
Right.
you saw that at.
Flooring can also affect our judgment. If a comfy product like a duvet is placed in an area with carpeted flooring, we are more likely to judge the duvet's comfort level negatively in comparison. So, some stores will place the comfy items on hard floors to prompt us to evaluate the product based on its quality instead of its surroundings. Do you know why casinos?
That's what they did at Bed Bath, I want to say.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah. Casinos also famously don't have clocks anywhere. There's no windows, and the lighting is always the same, so you never know what time it is.
Yep.
Back in the day, restaurants that didn't want you to like stay too long would have really ugly like orange chairs and stuff. Like Denny's used to do that because they wanted you to get in and get out, just to make you uncomfortable. Kind of a bizarre thing, but yeah. There's lots of those little mind tricks that businesses have been using for a long time.
Yeah. Yep. I have this video.
Mhm.
I think it's the last slide. I was listening to you, but I was afraid that I almost forgot to add this to the sheet.
No.
So I think Thrash sent this in. It's about David Lynch. I
Twin
can kind of
Peaks.
relate. Yes, yeah, Twin Peaks and psychological thrillers and stuff.
Mhm. Are you presenting it?
No, I'll start it over. It's better I start
Okay.
over anyways.
Okay.
So he's talking. This is just fucking psycho shit.
He's weird.
Well, yeah, and like, so like I literally almost forgot to add this to the sheet, and then like I saw it, my phone opened back up on the same screen. I was like, oh god, that was close. I almost forgot, which is kind of ironic because of the subject here. But he's
Right.
talking about the way he feels after he forgets an idea, and like, you know, as a creative, the way that like tortures you, and he's just so fucking extreme about it.
Times you forget them. And if you forget a good idea, you want to commit suicide.
Jeez.
So you have to write them down.
If a person forgets an idea that they love, it's a horror. And it could lead to a real yearning to commit suicide.
I write them down so I don't commit suicide
later,
It's
having
just like a montage of interviews. where
tripled
he's
down on it.
constantly
Yeah.
saying this.
forgotten the idea.
Yeah.
If you don't write it down, it could happen that the next day you
He's gonna act
then
it
you
out.
want to blow your brains out. It's that bad.
Many times you
There's some.
I've forgotten two things that I thought were solid ideas that would be just asking questions or quiz games for you. And like in this week, since we've done a show, and it kills me. It absolutely kills me. But not
Not like that.
maybe once I'd say like just talking, I might
Yeah.
say, oh, I want to blow my brains out over it, something like that. But like to have it go back, like he means it. He said it so many times. Like that's not
Yeah.
it's
like a mantra almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say there's some different brain chemistry happening up there. He was a weird dude, man. He was into some bizarre stuff, and that translated in his art because a lot of his movies and shows were pretty out there as well. But one of a kind, man. A unique guy.
Is there anything about the things he's into that you can share that you know about, or you just
No, I've just seen interviews with him, other interviews in the past, and he just comes off as a very sort of
yeah.
Something else is happening up in the brain.
Yeah,
That
I
guy,
get it.
for sure.
I get it.
Yeah, but I mean, he
we're
used
almost
it for his art. So there's that.
Yep. Do you want to see this one's funny? This is if Facebook Marketplace was an actual marketplace.
And now, if Facebook Marketplace was an actual marketplace.
Hi, is this still available?
Yes, it is. Oh, okay.
Hi, is this still available?
Yeah, it's right here.
Great, I'm very interested.
Amazing. Do you need the controllers or what the hell?
Still available?
Yes.
You deliver.
What?
1322 Walgrove Lane.
That's over 2 hours away.
Come by anytime after midnight.
Jesus. No.
Hi, is this still available?
Yeah, hi, we've talked before.
Sorry, I was in a serious car accident.
Okay.
But I'm better now and I want to play video games.
Okay, I'm just talking with another person, so if that falls through, I'll let you know.
You
So,
go.
you can have this now if you'd like.
What a ripoff.
All right, never mind. It's yours if you still want it.
I'll give you $100 for it. All right, I'll throw in a sack of potatoes.
No.
I'm out.
Nice Xbox. Thank you. $20. Excuse me? $20. I bought this thing for $400 and I've used it once. I'm not selling it for $20. $20. I can sell it to you for $150. $20. Okay, fine. I don't care. Just take it.
Walks away still, anyways.
Hi, is this still available?
I've never actually sold anything on Facebook Marketplace, but I can imagine that's what
Natasha
exactly
spends a lot of time on there, man.
Really?
She's always like, "You gonna be in this part of town? I found a lamp somewhere." God, she loves lamps so much. I picked up a lamp in like the middle of nowhere, Tennessee last week. Like on my
Nice.
lunch break. I was like, "I'll check if work can line up 2 calls together, and if I can, I'll swing by." I'll be like, I had to go to this rural backyard where it's like, I know you told them that I'm going to go pick it up off the back porch, but like, it doesn't seem like I should be walking up to this house unarmed. Like, yeah, but we got a cute little, is it in here? No, it's in the other room. I got a bullfighter and a bull up here that, we were just dying to have. Facebook
I mean,
Marketplace.
you need one of those.
You gotta. We have plenty in the show about the protesters on the college campus, but I think we'll throw this one in here. This is protesting inside of a library and University of Washington. I dubbed this person the last good man.
Hey, this is library.
He just says it and walks away. I love that.
Like, dude, just go fucking do this somewhere else. Like, I'm
This is
trying to get
library.
my degree. Like, this
I
is
have shit to
library.
do.
Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? God.
Yeah, actually, right now they're saying heavy police presence on Columbia University in New York.
Good.
Yeah. Do you see they broken? I'm sure we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, ask me that question later. Yeah. I don't think I have a clip from that though. Oh, I snuck this in. This will be our last clip on the secret track. As longtime listeners know, I'm a former libertarian, still undecided, independent, and as those intersections cross, many people and that would describe themselves in that way probably have high regard for Milton Friedman. I'm indifferent on him, mostly because of the application of his advice in the Reagan. But you know, it's one of those things where it's like, well, he didn't really say to do it like that, but you know,
Sure.
but that's
All
what
about the
communists say,
execution.
Alan. That's what communists say, right? It was never real communism, so you know, I'm not falling on that at all.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyways, this is when you listen to this, I think that it's pretty easy to at least be intrigued by it.
I'm not an anarchist. I believe in a government, but a limited government. And the government should be limited, in my opinion, to very simple functions. Number one, to defending the country against foreign enemies. I have tried for a long time to see how to make national defense a private enterprise, and I have never succeeded. It's easy to see how to privatize schooling, but I don't know how to privatize national defense. A second function of government, and one which it performs very, very badly, is to protect the individual citizen against abuse and coercion by other citizens, to keep you from being hit over the head, mugged on the street, your house broken into, and so on. And I believe that the government performs that function very ineffectively because it's doing so many things it has no business doing. A third function of government, a very important function, is to define the rules of the game we play. What's private property? If an airplane flies 10,000 feet over your house, is he violating your private property? If he flies 10 feet over your house, is he violating your private property? There's nothing natural about where the line should be drawn. So we have to have some mechanism for making the rules about that, and that is an appropriate government function. And fourth, it's appropriate for government to provide a mechanism for adjudicating disputes about the meaning of those rules, a judicial system. Those are the four essential functions of government, in my opinion, and those are the only functions that are essential. There may be some other areas in which if you started with nothing more than that, government might conceivably do more good than harm. But from where you are now, if you could only move back in that direction, it would be marvelous.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I personally think that there's more the government should do than those four things. However, he describes his argument very well, and he makes a lot of sense.
Are they any of the things you think government should do? Things that are downstream from those? Because that was my thought when I listened to that. Is like, well, you can justify everything through those four boxes.
Oh, potentially, but obviously he wouldn't agree with that. He would say keep it as minimal as possible. Actually, he was just he came up in the Philosophize This show a couple weeks ago when he was doing that. Yeah, he was doing that section about anarchy or anarchists.
Oh, yeah.
Rather.
Yeah.
And
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think this is gonna work. You know how we always used to call and see if Mike Jones.
Mike Jones?
Answer? Yeah. You know what? Let's just see if Mike Jones will answer. I didn't save the number. I have to look it up every time. Mike Jones phone number.
867-5309.
281-330-8005. I only remember the 8004. 231. Wait, what was it? 281-330. 281-330-8004. Hit Mike Jones up on the low because Mike Jones about to blow.
The person you are calling cannot accept calls.
All right, Mike.
That area code's in Houston. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, of course. I got another number. I don't really have a plan if she answers. You want to call Christy Gnome?
Let's.
Just ask her if she eats dogs. So let me get the Tucker clip ready.
Okay.
Where is it? Oh, I lost.
Does she eat dogs?
Do you eat dogs? Does he eat dog? Where is that? Oh.
Does he eat dogs?
All right, let's see.
Box 4.
Governor's office
Is full.
Aw, can't even ask her.
Does he eat
You
dogs?
are being transferred to the attendant.
Oh.
Thank you for your call. All attendants are busy at this time. Please hang up and try again.
Who's the creepy weirdo, Sandy?
Yeah. All right, fine. I didn't expect much out of that, but that would have been fun if we got it.
That would have been fun.
What do we do with a fish like that on the line?
There's no way she answers ever.
Yeah, unless you're like the head of the Republican Party in your state or whatever the guy is that she was fucking. It wasn't.
Then
her
you'd have a non-private number.
Oh, I got you.
Or a private number. You know what I mean?
I
Non-public number.
Yeah. But you remember how she was cheating on her husband with that guy?
Oh, she's a great citizen.
Role model.
Yes. Yeah.
What's your wash order in the shower?
Oh. Like chest, pits.
No. Come on. Let's get in there with some details. So first things first, you like soak everything, right? Like
Sure,
right up
yes,
in the water.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you wash your hair before you do anything else? What's the
Usually
first?
not. I actually usually do my hair last. I guess that's probably weird. But...
Bald ass Allen over there.
Yeah.
Wash the beard. I rub the scalp down with a lather.
I do wash the beard, yes, for sure.
What's first?
Although I don't do the beard every shower, so I do the beard like a few times a week because I think it gets rid of too much oil. If
you got to get all the crumbs out of there. Oh, I throw so
Yeah.
much oil on this thing every day.
Do you really?
Oh yeah.
You oil up every day.
Oh, I got it. You got it.
You got it. Okay. All right. All right. So order. So I would guess, like I said, so I would obviously
Bar
soak up.
soap. Do you use a rag or a loofah?
I use bar soap, and I know some people think that's weird, but
Just a plain bar and then your hand.
Just a plain
right?
bar. I
I don't
use
like
a
having
washcloth.
that rag in the. That's a weird thing. And then
Yeah.
Are you cleaning that rag? You know. I guess every time you wash yourself, the rag's getting clean, right? That's soap in it.
If you want to think that works, sure. Well, like my family use washcloths, and they just get a new one every time they shower.
Week or whatever. Yeah.
No,
every time you shower.
There's
my
like a
God.
whole stack of them in the bathroom. You just
Oh
gotta
my
grab
God! No, you got to use that more than once. That seems. excessive.
How often do you use it? You switch out your towel?
Twice a week, maybe.
See, I probably go too long. I probably go like a week. I should do it more often.
It's once a week.
Okay, all right.
We're talking like 5 showers, maybe. You know,
Right. Okay. All right, good. I was like, oh man.
So I start off on the chest. So I use a little soap in like a mesh bag, like a.
Oh yeah, you can buy them like that already.
Bag, yeah.
In there, yeah.
And I start to do the chest, and then where do you go? Do you do the pits and then
Chest,
an
pits,
arm.
chest, pits, arms.
So chest pits. So what I do is I do chest pit, one arm, and then I go other pits, other arm. Then you go down the leg, or what do you do next? Oh, I do front. I do front downstairs. Front downstairs.
Yes. Front downstairs.
Okay, then what?
Back downstairs.
You do that.
Yeah, and then like legs and feet.
So I like to do front downstairs. I go down one leg, and I do the bottom of the feet. Then I come back up. I do back downstairs. Get in between the crack and everything. Get the suds in the crevices.
Get the starfish.
Then I
nice
wash
and
all that
squeaky.
off on the other leg, especially the bottom of the foot on that one. Hit the chest hair one more time just to wash out the soap more than anything, you know?
Right.
Put it back in there, good to go. Oh, then I do conditioner. I do conditioner before all that, so it gets in there and soaks.
Oh, you let it sit, yeah.
Yeah. And then I like to do I do a little beard face wash with like it's got something, it feels nice, it conditions or whatever.
Nice. I don't do any conditioning products.
You don't do it. Well, again, Alan. Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing here.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, that was
that's fun.
Interesting. Which is okay because I've got another question to start the show with you.
Okay.
I have a question for you, then I got a clip to play. This is just like a kind of an interesting. Oh wait, no, I don't have a fucking question for you. I'm gonna save that. Save that for halftime.
Okay.
In that case, we're gonna start a show right after this clip. I think Ben sent this in, and it fucking shook me. Like it is so spot on. All I'm gonna say before you hear it is just two guys talking to a guy, or a guy talking to a guy about talking.
Okay.
What about that person over there? I don't know. What do I say? Just go up and be yourself and don't sound desperate. All right. Hey, excuse me. I was just over there and I saw you and I thought you looked pretty chill. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I was just wondering if you're into talking. Yeah, I like talking. Cool. Well, if you're not busy, I was just wondering if maybe you want to get together sometime and have like an hour-long conversation.
Are you asking me if I want to start a podcast with you?
I mean, what if I was? Oh my gosh, that bathroom line is crazy.
Somebody showed up.
Who's this guy? Is this guy trying to start a podcast with you?
Relax, he didn't know.
You guys are already in a podcast with each other?
We've been in a committed podcast for over 300 episodes, pal.
We actually have a studio and 3 sponsors.
I'm sorry. I
Get
didn't-
away
I didn't
from my
know.
co-host.
Damn house.
Should we hit record?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Back the fuck off, Drew.
I am ready. Are you recording?
Yes. All right. Well, you want to start a show?
Let's start a show.
That podcast is filling your head with garbage.
No offense taken there.
Well, it sounds like none taken.
Ask your mama, she'll say the same thing. I got all the ways, I just ain't got the means.
Welcome to episode number 362 of Not Taken, the internet's only debate and current events show with your hosts Dustin and Al, two political nomads from two different worlds. Shout out to Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band for the use of their song Ways and Means for intro music. Time of this recording, it is Tuesday, April 30th, 2024. It's a great day for America. We are two coastal elites coming to you from the shores of the mighty Cumberland in Madison, Tennessee, all the way to the Pacific waters of El Cerrito, California. Here to recap another week. Current events and sharing way too much of our tragic personal lives. Because, well, I listen to Thursday Hours podcast today, but that's for another time. What we're going to do now is take a sledgehammer to the culture war echo chambers. Please subscribe right now wherever you're listening to this. You probably already have, so leave us a review, 5-star review, because we're 5-star guys. And there's another place you can go to that gets to all the other websites. That way I don't mention the other websites because you don't need to go to Trump Gags anymore, although that's in the news a lot lately. We'll get to the news later. Alan, tell them what else they can do to support the show and enhance their own lifestyles.
Indeed. Nonetakenpod.com. All the links are there. We got our merch store there. We got our Patreon there. You click on that and join. You can get access to bonus episodes as well as full unedited video of every regular episode. Some cool shit over there. Also, support the people that support us. Slickestdigital.com for all your SEO and marketing needs. Slickestdigital.com.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the show. I hope you all are having a great week. Man, it's been absolutely gorgeous here in the Bay Area the last few days. Actually, last week, pretty much. On Saturday, I was supposed to go. There was a thing at the marina in Berkeley, like a kind of like a science fair kind of thing. They had aquariums with a bunch of like local fish and I guess other stuff as well, sort of like exploratorium style kind of thing.
Okay.
But I drove down there because Tim and the kids were down there, and parking was just insane. So I was like, dude, I'm just gonna go to the brewery. Meet me there later. So we hung out at Cellar Maker again. Had a fantastic afternoon. It was absolutely gorgeous this weekend. So lot of fun had. I am going to a concert on Saturday. I'm going to see Punk in the Park in San Francisco on Saturday.
Pumpkin in the Park?
Punk in the Park.
Oh, that's
a whole bunch of old like punk bands like the Descendants, the Dead Kennedys, Black
Which
Flag. It's actually it's the parking lot of the Cow Palace. So pretty funny.
Cow Palace in Oakland, or is that?
No, it's in South San Francisco.
Okay.
Down by the airport over there.
That's right.
They are it's like a craft brew fest plus punk music.
That's
so you
cool.
get like it's like a beer fest and concert combined.
I
went to
never
the one
understood why they call it the Cow Palace. You ever get a story for that?
You know, all I know is I've been to rodeos there, so I don't know if that was its original like
perhaps.
purpose. Maybe that's the only thing I
Okay.
can figure out. But I haven't been there in like 20 years.
Not enough
So-
Indians for it to be like a holy cow situation.
No,
right? That
definitely.
was later. Okay.
Yeah, definitely not. Anyway, so that should be fun. I went to the one in Sacramento a few years ago. It was a good time.
I
So I'm
love
looking forward to it.
Descendants. That'll be rad.
Yeah, it'll be good. Adolescence, a couple other bands. Yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Can't think of a whole lot that went on this weekend other than a few things that stood out. So I went back to yoga for the first time in about a month because we've had friends in town, family in town.
Right.
So I needed it. It was good. Although they do this thing before every class where they're like, any requests? And Natasha's always squeezing my hand so I don't yell Freebird. All I want to do is yell Freebird whenever she asks for any request. I'm gonna do one of these weekends, Natasha. But
So requests are for the music that she would play.
no, it's requests for like things they're gonna work on.
Oh, okay.
So someone was like upper back, and someone was like, I don't know, whatever,
Leg day.
core or something like that. And some fucking weirdo goes feet.
What the fuck?
Yeah, to the end. And you know what? I'm sitting there. I'm hungover as hell. I was hurting, man. And it's hot yoga. I'm just like putting my face down, just
God.
stretching out my
Yeah.
forehead because that's where
Yeah.
it hurt. Like you sort of plant your forehead down and sort of stretch it, and that feels good
Yep.
right in here.
Mhm.
Anyway, so she's like, feet. I'm like, feet? What the freak show?
How
is
do you even work on your feet?
Never heard of it in my life.
Stretch your toes? Like what the?
To the extent that one of the other people in the class was like, the second they said it, they're like, "Ooh, pretty sure we did feet last time." Like this creep keeps yelling out feet every fucking class.
Was it a dude?
No, it wasn't a
Okay.
dude. No, that would have been fucking great. Of course, it'd be a dude. Like, feet. Can you show us how you do the feet?
I'll spot you.
Oh God. So, speaking of things that stink, about halfway through the course, it's all chicks. There was 2 other guys in there, but it's all chicks,
Sure.
And this
Usually
lady
is.
behind me fucking farts. I heard it. And it was like as we were doing like this twisting move, and you're like, sort of like flexing in a certain way. And like I was like, they're like, lean forward, and I heard it. And Natasha says it was her mat, but the lady turned and she looked at me and she mouthed it and she goes,
Wow.
I'm kidding. I'm sorry. It was so bad. I know she farted. It wasn't her mat. I know it wasn't her mat.
I was watching a podcast earlier. I think it was yesterday, and somebody farted like while they were being interviewed on the podcast, and then they said safety immediately and like grabbed the microphone. I
Doorknob.
don't even know what that means.
You don't
I had
remember
to look
that?
it up. I had to look it up.
What
Yeah.
happened to your childhood? We grew up at the same time. If you
I know.
farted and I yelled doorknob before you said safety, I could punch you until you ran into a doorknob.
I Googled and found out, but I was not aware.
Doorknob. Safety. I mean, we should bring back safety, whoever that was. They deserve credit. I ran out of my gas station supplied, funny stuff you can buy out here in Tennessee. So I bought a new one, and I was just try it out, and I was like, man, this pen ain't shit. And I took like a really big hit, and it fucked me up until like the next day, until I went to bed off a pen, dude. So it was like THCP, which is one of these ones that's legal that they didn't.
Strain. It's like a Delta 6 or
Whatever it is, dude, it was a
Yeah.
pathway. It was a neural pathway that I had not developed before, and they were
No
like
tolerance whatsoever.
none at all, man. It was wild, dude. It was wild. So
Interesting.
that was before Natasha's show. Natasha had a burlesque show on Sunday, so we went down, get there early so she can sort of like walk the studios or walk the space and get an idea of how her act will fit there. She had a great show, by the way, if I forget to come back to
Nice.
it. And so it's this building that's sort of like it's a distillery and a couple of shops in like an old car plant. They built cars, Marathon.
Oh,
Motors
okay.
there.
I can picture places like that.
Yeah, so like stone walls, old hallways,
Sure.
and little cut ins for these they were probably people's offices or whatever, right?
Little shops or whatever.
Yeah, and there's this tannery. There's a leather tanner, and
Oh.
I'm
Did you have to pee in a jar for him?
no, I thought about that though. I just wanted to like browse, but as soon as I popped my head in, she started talking to me about it, like giving her a little spiel, and then went back to her work. And I'm, like I told you already, I'm very
Right.
let's say I'm very self-conscious, right?
Yes.
And I'm just like, say something before you leave. So I turn and I go, This is all very pretty. It's just a weird thing to say to describe like leather works. It's like
he just like turned into Forrest Gump. On
well, and it's like if it was a man, would I have said pretty? Like you clearly
Probably
chose that
not.
because it was a woman, right?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
what a weird thing. This is all very pretty.
Quite pretty.
I was waiting for a door at the show. There's 2 bathrooms in this place, and there's single stall bathrooms. So I'm waiting, not checking the doors because I could tell they were in use. Somebody else came up and like rattled it a bunch of times and like stormed off. It's like, I have to find another one. Then that door opens. The person came out, knew me. It was like, did you do that? And I'm like, I said, I'm like,
Right.
yes. I said yes because I didn't want to say no and blame I knew the person that stormed off too. So I didn't want to be like, no, it was that friend of ours that has bad bathroom etiquette, not me. Like, how do you like, and I couldn't think about it. So I just owned
just took
that.
the blame.
Yeah. Oh no, it gets better. The door, they were at the other door. The door in front of me opens. I don't even go in that one that apparently I'm beating down the door to get into. And obviously the implication is I don't want to go inside her shit stink or something, right?
Right.
Like I just, I'm so self-conscious. I was so self-conscious. And then she's sitting in front of me at the show. And I'm at the show. I'm there solo. I mean, like we're friends with people that are there, but I'm in a chair by myself. And then at the bar. I'm in a bar stool by myself. And then there's a dude next to me who's there with another act. And you'll like to throw cash at the performers, you'll wad it up into like a ball and throw it. Because it's not like stripping where you like
It's not like a strip club, right?
Yeah.
Don't put it
So the guy wads up his money and fastballs it, hits that lady from the bathroom in the back of the head. She just shakes her head slowly, doesn't even look back at me. She knows I'm back there and she's pissed already. And then she does this trick where she has it folded into like quarters and just throws it with the back of her fingers like that perfectly. Right. I was just like, you schooled me. I learned a new word too.
What's that?
How would you say this word? I'm going to spell it for you.
Okay.
P-U-C-E. Yeah.
I don't know the origin. I'm puce. I'm gonna say puce.
Really?
Yeah.
Great job. It was puce. Yeah. I thought it was pussy. P-U-C-E or pook.
Well, if it had 2 C's, I would have said like pooch or
Poochie.
Yeah.
Poochie. Yeah. It's a dark red or a purple brown color.
Oh.
Pop that poochie.
I don't like that sound of that.
I don't like that either.
That sounds like if you see that in the toilet, you got to go to the doctor. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like
my
that's
God. Wait, what did I say it was? What were the colors?
dark red or brown. And
Dark red or purple brown. Oh God.
that's
Oh wow. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
that's
Yeah. You don't want to see that in the bowl.
no, you definitely.
Well, let's get over to our lighter subjects. Let's do our first comedy clip of the day. Thrash sent this in. This is Feldfrog. Come on, give me a real name. Benny Feldman.
There's no way the periodic table has all this stuff, right?
This guy's got some ticks. He kind of keeps shaking his head.
I can see, yeah.
What about balsa wood? Or pudding? I used to do Febreze canned whippets in high school.
Oh God.
I thought my mom was starting to catch on, so to throw her off, I would burn a little weed.
All right. I'm glad that made you laugh. I'm pulling up the laughs. Yeah, you and Seth Rogen thought that was cool. Thanks, Thrash.
That was funny.
Ben sent in this NASCAR. This is a joke about NASCAR.
I bet the worst part about being a NASCAR driver is just knowing if you'd driven straight the whole time, you'd be 500 miles away from Daytona, Florida.
That's a great one, Ben. Thank you.
That's good. That's good.
And I don't know if I saved this link properly. This one I think is also from Ben. Unless it's really funny, in which case I take all credit. This is oh wait, who's that last one? That was Zach Reinert. And this is Sharif Hassan.
The Empire State.
So he's saying that the Empire State Building came out in support of Israel.
Building came out in support of Israel. They made their lights blue and white. And I gotta say, that's pretty risky. Like if I was a skyscraper in New York, I wouldn't do that. I'm saying, like, I would just not have any opinions about anything. I would just remain completely neutral. About, like, what conflict? No. It's an airplane. Even the Empire.
You gotta have George Bush left at the end of that one.
That's a must.
I got a timely Biden joke from Loadmaster.
Biden is not too old, right? He has a brand new strategy, and I'll share it with you. His uncle Bosie was killed in World War II, was shot down near Papua New Guinea.
Remember we talked about this last week? How he's like, yeah, cannibals ate my uncle or whatever, right?
Yeah.
His plane crashed and they never recovered the body. And Joe Biden, and I'm going to quote exactly what he said, they never found the body because there used to be a lot of cannibals in that part of New Guinea. So Joe Biden's new strategy is to out-crazy Donald Trump, to say the things that even Trump wouldn't say. Trump was like, Mexicans are rapists, Muslims are terrorists, and Joe Biden's like, I'll raise you. Pacific Islanders are cannibals. This is the benefit of a president that old. He remembers the racist stereotypes that we've all forgotten. I didn't know this. I picture Pacific Islanders, I'm like, fucking Moana. And he's like, no, they eat people and they got bones through their nose. You're like, Joe? What?
Oh, you get Kamala laughing for Joe.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that is. Man, I thought of something in the middle of that. Oh well, brain. We got one more to close this out. This one's from Slickets. This is this is something I've said on the show before. I don't understand dudes talking about body count and stuff like that. It's like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure you want your partner to be able to be good at fucking, right? Like I mean, unless you have some weird kink about teaching them, which seems uncomfortable to have you tell me.
No. I prefer when the women I sleep with have slept with a lot of guys before me. I like that because I like to have good sex. And for some reason, sex is like any activity. If you practice a lot, you get good. But guys forget that. Dude, I'd never date a woman with a high body count. No way. For me, that's the same as being like, dude, I'd never go to a chef who cooks a lot. No way. 10 meals or less in your whole life if you want to cook for me. That's me. No, I go to chefs that cook hundreds of meals, all different ethnic cuisines. They cooked for a whole fraternity one time. They know their way around a dish. I know it's dangerous, but you can't get a good carbonara without catching chlamydia once or twice. I don't think I'm out of line for saying that. Sometimes I don't even like get home cooked. Sometimes I go to a restaurant. Okay. I think if you want the best experience, you got to provide a professional. You got to pay for. That's what I do. I go to restaurants and I watch the cooking channel sometimes. I prefer when the women.
Okay, I didn't realize quite how much I was endorsing when I said I like this guy's take. I didn't make it that far into it. Thanks a lot, Slickets.
The analogy just kept going and going and going.
I like to watch the cooking channel. That was pretty good.
That was pretty
good.
good.
Let's get into our show proper.
Oh, how about that?
How about that segment? Did you see this clip about Jerry Seinfeld saying that wokeism killed comedy?
No.
Yeah, it's like Jerry Seinfeld says TV is being hurt by the extreme left and PC crap and people worrying so much about offending other people. It used to be you would go home at the end of the day and most people were like, oh, Cheers is on. Oh, MASH is on. Oh, Mary Tyler Moore. And the quote ends. You can imagine the rest of it, right? This isn't even the first time that he's been a cunt about comedy, right? Don and Mike used to rip on him because he would talk about the serious business of comedy.
Yeah, he's been a cunt for a long time.
Audience doesn't know what they want. It's your job. It's like,
It's your job, yeah.
That's true. You don't fucking say that. Like it's right.
I mean, he had one of the best sitcoms in the 90s of all time. So
Yeah, thanks to Larry David.
right. Yeah, but he's been kind of a cunt for a long time.
Okay, well, this is Paul Danke. We know Paul Danke from Hunk with Mike Bridenstine. Paul Danke shared this. This is his video response to Jerry. And I didn't unmute it. That was such a perfect setup. I couldn't have handed it over better. Now it's not refreshing.
It's okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
No, Jerry, that's not what's ruining comedy right now. What's ruining comedy right now is IP-driven film and media. Corporate mergers, the reduction of pilot orders, the stagnant wages.
Reduction of pilot orders is a big deal. So they didn't order any pilots during the shutdown, during the writer's strike, and they're not ordering any for the rest of this year, or that was the time they would have. Brado talks about that on the show a few times. Hey, he's wearing a Third Man Records t-shirt. That's Jack White's, my good friend.
Oh,
Jack
nice.
White's record label.
For featuring and opening acts, ticket prices, drink prices, audiences not showing up because they don't want to be included in people's crowd work videos, audiences showing up because they want to be included in these crowd work videos. The yellow font in front of all comedy clips, the Notes app, the reduction in the quality of the Bic Pilot G2 pen, of course, negative discourse-driven social media algorithms, as well as social media suppressing all promotional posts so that we can't get audiences out to our shows, and the senior class of comedians complaining about cancel culture. Did it stop the Pop-Tart movie? Did it stop the Pop-Tart movie, Jerry? No. Please believe I'm going to see that Pop-Tart movie.
Me too.
The B movie had jokes. It had jokes.
No. I will see the movie as well.
Yeah.
He's been promoting it pretty heavily.
Not in theaters, but
no.
Jerry's been promoting the Pop-Tart movie?
Yeah.
Man, the best thing that happened this year with Pop-Tarts was that they had a bowl game, and at the end of the bowl game, they threw a Pop-Tart in a Pop-Tart machine. It was, what do you call Pop-Tart machine? Toaster oven.
Toasters?
Toaster, regular toaster.
Pop-Tart
Pop-Tart. Shut up, Alan. All right. All right, we're gonna move on. This is this one's pretty good, Alan. You like it when we play Jeopardy? Sometimes you
I do.
All right, see if you can get this answer before he does.
Tree 2000. Slang for a detective. Austin.
A dick.
What is it? Oh, God,
Private
a dick?
dick.
No.
Oh.
I know nothing about a dick tree, but there is a gum tree
Oh,
or
gumshoe.
gumshoe.
I went dick too. I mean, that just makes sense.
That's getting isolated. And we have Alan saying something about tree. Oh, yeah, this is Alan has a different favorite tree.
The rape tree.
Okay, Alan.
You pick again.
I've seen one before. A tree too.
And he's seen one. I've seen one.
I've seen a dick tree.
Yeah, Rich Brown.
Yeah.
Okay, music. We got a couple of music clips in a row. So what's this first one? I'm just gonna don't look. Did you look? Did you look? Don't look. Did you see who the artist is? Fuck. Would you have ever believed it?
No, I would not.
Okay, listeners, I guess you can guess who sings this.
Mr. Steven Seagal, fly down to Jamaica and say one of the baddest y'all.
Well, she just said it.
I mean,
Mr.
I was
Steven
gonna say,
Seagal.
She said the name in the first 5 seconds.
Yeah, but you can't understand it. She talks all, you know.
Them said if you lay the sock, I don't know me raw. You see me? So.
Girl, what you really want down there?
Me want the body if you make me feel nice. Why? Tell me what you really want all night.
Me want the bananas if you make me nice.
Me want.
You just heard Steven Seagal said, "Me want the punani."
Punani, yeah.
Nice. Why? Tell me what you really want all night.
Me want the bananas if you make me nice.
Me want the body, him want the punani. I mean, know it nice. So.
When the girls start to strut, you could look at their butt, you shouldn't do that. Because dress is just as pretty, not just there to cover her pity.
When me a fling it up, you better know fi back it up. When me a dash it up, make sure you black it up. If you ever flap it up, then me a go lock it up. Park it up like Benji hold up. So.
Wait for you to say it.
Do you remember there was a window? I want to say like the late 90s, early 2000s, where Steven Seagal was just like in every action movie for like a few years.
Yeah.
He was like everybody. Yeah, I just remember watching Steven Seagal movies like all the time.
Yeah.
There was that one on the train.
Yeah, that didn't wait, hold on. The one on the train is Under Siege too.
Oh, that's true.
The chef.
Right, the chef, yes.
Yeah. All right. Here's another musical track for you. This is just Isn't That Something? Oh yeah.
Oh, how about that?
Damn it. This is just how about that? because they mean different things. Those two phrases have totally different meanings.
Yes.
This
Obviously.
is Jay-Z trolled Oasis because Noel Gallagher got mad that there was a rapper headlining Glastonbury. So
Oh.
Jay-Z went out and did this with a guitar. I didn't know you could play guitar.
I didn't either, but
It
I
did
guess
sound like that was actually being played because it
it
wasn't
did
good.
sound like he was actually. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. He obviously
Yeah.
has a vast knowledge of music. It's weird. I'd seen this clip before, but I didn't understand the context that
Yeah.
why he was doing it. It's so funny that even billionaires can be petty. You know, like
Yes.
like
yeah.
why the fuck does that guy care? Like
I think it's
fucking-
fun to be especially petty when you have all that.
right.
I would be the most petty person.
Go home to your mansion and chill.
Oh,
with
I'd probably do
Beyonce.
that too. But I would be petty briefly in the moment and then move
Right.
on to that. But
Yeah.
oh, I told you on the Friday show that I had a funny clip from The Economist. This is
Oh yeah.
palate cleanser.
We
Talking about
we don't know what it's like to be a castrated cat, but it is an interesting question.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
We don't know what it's like to be a castrated cat, but it is an interesting question.
Is it an interesting question? Yes.
Ask Schrodinger.
Philosophers, philosophers of all the eras of just, what is it like to be a cat, not a cat, a castrated cat. Sterile cat? No.
No.
We're trying to get the fuck out of here. We're talking about castrated cats. Trying to get a thought together, and you're interrupting. Yeah, it's just, we don't know what it's like to be a castrated cat. I kind of have some bad words corner here.
Okay.
This is JFK saying bad words. This is an old clip of JFK you didn't know about, Alan.
The number of mentally retarded is increasing.
Oh.
The number of mentally retarded is increasing.
So maybe I could. I mean, it has a neighboring spot on the sheet if we do use it. 102. And
I mean, if Kennedy said it, we can surely play it.
I feel like it would be funny with his voice, right?
Agreed. Yes.
Did you ever watch that show, Strangers with Candy?
It sounds familiar. I can't remember it at the
So
moment.
it was on Comedy Central starting in 1999. So a couple
Oh, I
years
remember that
after.
actress. Okay.
Yeah, it's not Sudeikis. Whatever. She's hilarious. She made this series.
Yeah.
But I mean, other famous Stephen Colbert is in it. He's in this scene. He's the principal. It's this high school in this alternate. Did you watch that movie Bottoms that came out last year? I told you about it.
Yeah.
So I like to think that Bottoms existed in the same school universe as Strangers with Candy, where it's surreal teacher interactions. Some of the students are way too old to be students, stuff like that, right? So she's the newspaper reporter for the school. What's her name?
Amy Sedaris.
Amy Sedaris. I always want to say Sudeikis. Amy Sedaris plays the reporter for the school paper. And there was a bunch of famous comedians that were on that show. But here's a reminder that it did come out in 1999.
Tell you what, Jerry, I'm going to head down to Principal Blackman's office and take a shower. Would you join me there in a few minutes and we'll tell him all about this report of yours, okay? Oh, and Jerry, this note just got a lot more legible.
No running! Say, Jerry, what was that all about?
Mr. Noblet wants me to snitch on a friend.
Snitching doesn't seem like you, Jerry.
Oh, it's not what you think. I mean, it's not like snitching on a real person or anything. She's
Gay?
retarded.
Yes, most of them are.
Most who are what?
Most gay people are retarded.
Does that mean Kimberly Timbers is gay?
I don't know. Hey, make a pass at her and find out. She'd have to be retarded to turn you down.
Thanks. Well, are they dangerous?
Gay people? They can't be.
No. Retarded people.
I don't know. But I do know before you do any snitching, you better find out.
Different
Tell
time.
you what, Jerry.
Different time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's, we're just a product of our raisin. This I think was supposed to be in the pre-show, but I guess it's here anyways, Alan. So
look, you can pet this one.
There's a cat named Nibbler.
What?
Nibbler, that's its name.
Oh Lord, have.
What did you hear the cow's name was?
Nibbler.
Okay. It was just so that I could have you saying that. That's all. 105. Well, speaking of racism, I did do that in order on purpose. Speaking of racism, this is the Super Racist podcast. There's a black guy and the guy in the KKK robes, and they do racial humor.
Sure.
Just to pull back the kimono completely, in case for people who are only listening. So it's just like a little podcast interview. So I think it'll be obvious who's wearing the KKK robe since they have a muffled voice. It's not everyone from 2020 and 2021 with their masks on. Okay, here we go.
Okay, so you are a black man. That's correct.
That's right.
I don't like a lot of stereotypes about black men because I don't think they're true.
Yeah.
Like the one about all black men love fat white women. That's not true.
Tend to agree with you.
Some black guys are gay. Do you hear that?
No, I don't hear anything.
Huh. Anyways, while I have you here, can I ask you a question?
Sure. What you got?
Why does every black man have a paper license plate on his car?
It's tax time, man. You know.
Every black guy I know has a paper license plate. Who's making these things? Nike? FUBU? Do you hear that?
Man, I don't hear nothing. I don't hear anything.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
You want me to cut that one? I'm sorry.
I don't care.
It's a joke about racist.
That was, yeah. It's satire, you know.
Yeah. Have you heard of this cheese balls guy?
I have. He got like a shit ton of people to come out to watch him eat in New York.
Yeah. How did you hear about this? I mean, same way I did, I guess, but like you're barely online.
I saw it somewhere.
So hundreds of people gather in Union Square, New York, to witness Cheese Balls Man 427 eat an entire jar of cheese balls. By the way, whenever we get like the puffy Cheez-Its, you know, the big I like to call them
oversized
baby,
ones.
I call them baby carrots so that I can feel better about it. That's all I wanted to say. Anyways, this guy's been putting flyers up nonstop around town, I guess.
Yeah.
And he gathered a crowd of hundreds and he ate the whole thing and people did this.
One more ball.
Look at those fingers.
Oh god.
Covered in cheese. I would have looked those off a long time ago.
There's a lot of people. That looks like 1,000 people at least.
Yeah. What an accomplishment too. The whole thing. That was like a Costco sized jar. Look at that. You
Yeah,
get that
it's
as
massive.
Costco. Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of wholesome content we need in 2020.
Yes. Yes. Bringing people together, right?
Yeah.
It would have been cool if you lit us
Supposed
on fire. That would have been cooler.
No.
Sorry. All right, I ruined it. This is
about that?
this is I've talked about it on the show here before about how a bunch of cities are not called what normal people pronounce them as out here in Tennessee.
Mhm.
Not the way I meant to say that, but I already said it.
About Tennessee is that for some reason nobody knows how to pronounce shit. So we got a bunch of cities up here that are just pronounced wrong. You'd think this would be Milan, like, you know, the city in Italy. No, it's Milan. Milan. Oh, you know, like the country, Lebanon. No, it's goddamn Lebanon. Oh, you know, Lafayette. Nope, that's not right. It's Lafayette. What the fuck? Lafayette. You might think this is pronounced Santa Fe. No, it's Santa Fe. Oh, Cairo, like Egypt. No, apparently it's Cairo. I thought this was Selena. No, it's Salina. I'm worried about this place. The thing about Tennessee is that for some
What's like East Palestine, Ohio? It's like, why
It
is
is.
it Palestine? Like,
It is actually just like that. Yeah.
why?
Accents. I'm answering you honestly.
sure.
I shouldn't. I should just I could have just been silent and didn't have to step on that. Accents, Alan. Duh. So do you know that the Phoenix Coyotes are leaving for Utah?
I'm aware of this. Yes.
So and there's already a deal in the works for Phoenix to get another team. So like just all
Oh,
that.
I didn't see that.
Well, I mean, it's gonna happen. You're not gonna be the number 8 market or whatever Phoenix is, and
Yeah, and not have a team.
Yeah, right.
Sure. Makes sense.
But yeah, it's so dumb. All that's so dumb. Anyway, this guy's talking about proposed names for the NHL in Utah.
Utah's getting an NHL team. A lot of boring team names are floating around, so I thought it'd be fun to create some actually good ones. First, a very popular one going around, the Salt Lake City Soakers. The mascot is a bunk bed with water on it.
If you know, you know.
You're not familiar with this term, Google it. Here's one I made up, the Utah Dry Spells. It's a very thirsty wizard, if you know what I mean. Honor Taylor Swift's new album, Arizona Coyotes, Utah's version, and the fan section can be called the Tortured Mormons Department. They could also just steal something from New Orleans again, like they did with the Jazz, so Utah Jambalaya. Or you could do Utah Jazz Hands. Another popular one going around the internet, the Utah Storm and Mormons. I made this logo. It's I guess a Mormon with a bike helmet. I don't know. Fun fact, Utah's
It's gonna be a bunch of fucking Russians playing there. This is the Mormons.
the #1 home to multi-level marketing. So this is the Utah Pyramids. Kind of explains itself. Pyramid schemes. The Latter-day Skates. That was another good one someone said online. The last one, this is so dumb. The Utah curfew, because nothing really happens in Utah after 9 p.m. And like the hockey puck is like a general prohibition sign, I guess. Utah's getting...
Oh, there you go. Thanks to
I like the Soakers. I vote for that one.
I think Soakers is a winner. Yeah.
Oh, how about
Soakers on ice. This one's interesting. Brennan sent this in. Sorry, my asshole brother sent this in. This is you're gonna learn something here. So you ever noticed how like Armenian and Indian have like all curved letters, and Greek and Egyptian are all like straight lines without serifs? I will not abide a serif. Don't like serifs anywhere near my fonts. Do you like serifs, Alan? Do you have
I'm not a fan.
Not a fan of serifs either. Good. Fuck a serif. Anyways, so they're talking about all these curvy letters and why the alphabets are different. And I didn't unmute it. God damn it.
Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam, Kannada, and Odia so curvy, while English and Greek look so sharp and angular. The answer is in the stones and leaves. Some languages like Greek and Egyptian started out by being carved into stones or being painted onto paper. So they were able to use these straight and angular characters. But Indian languages use something different. For paper, they used palm leaves, which were cut, boiled, and dried. And for the pen, they used a stylus. Not that stylus, the old metal stylus. The reason they used the stylus was because palm leaves did not absorb ink well. So the writers or lipikaras carved into these palm leaves and then painted a layer of charcoal powder mixed with oil to make the letters dark and visible. And because of the venation of the palm leaves, sometimes when writers used straight or angular characters, they used to end up cutting the leaves. So the writers ended up using these curvy characters. And these palm leaf venations weren't uniform across India. They were different in the northern parts of India. And that's why Sanskrit writers were able to use some straight lines and angular characters. Why are some Indian languages...
That's really cool, actually. I did not know any of that. That's really cool.
Yeah, you learn some stuff here. I mean, it's a lot of,
How about that?
Cheese It Man and veiled racism. But, we're making fun of racists, just to be clear, right?
Just to be clear. Yes.
Sure hope that's clear. It's only cool to make
really,
fun of them.
that was really interesting information. I like
Oh, well, this one's kind of fun, too. This is one of those, like, domino theories of history. So this is how 9/11 led to Ellen DeGeneres losing her job.
How 9/11 led to the fall of Ellen DeGeneres should be on the U.S. citizenship test. The fall of the Twin Towers was observed by Gerard Way, who was on his way to work. That inspired him to take a chance on his life and start the band My Chemical Romance. My Chemical Romance was cited as one of Stephenie Meyer's influence while she was writing the book Twilight. Later, an author by the name of E.L. James wrote fanfic based off of Twilight. This was called 50 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades of Grey was a massive success.
Dude, we're about to have a no women. I can't listen to this lady.
Which turned into a film starring Dakota Johnson, which kickstarted her career. Dakota Johnson was invited on the Ellen DeGeneres show, where Ellen accused Dakota of not inviting her to Dakota's birthday party. Dakota says she did invite Ellen and calls her out for being rude. This inspires people working on Ellen's show to come out and tell their own stories about how Ellen was being rude to them, which was completely out of sync with the nice image that Ellen had branded for herself. This eventually led to the general public canceling her, and eventually her show was off the air for good. How 9/11 led to the fall of...
I was looking at her boobs.
how about that? It's a hell of a butterfly effect.
Yeah. Pretty wild. Thanks, 9/11. Wait, no. Austin, no. Loadmaster said I have to play this, and I agreed. I sent this to Cody, by the way, and Cody's like, "That's nothing." He sent me back something very disturbing, which I will not share here.
I've done 2 months in the army and they've sent me to Iraq. Hope I'm not captured and imprisoned in a cave like Tony Stark. Haven't seen my girlfriend in so long. I know she's cheating when I'm gone. When I'm feeling sad about it, I get head from Jihadi John. I'm woken up by gunfire and the screams of the hostages. My bed feels like a plank of wood and I've always got the shits. I don't think real war's for me. It's not as fun as Black Ops 3. I only signed up because I enjoyed watching 1917. I'm sick of eating MREs, the mess hall has dead scran. Think that I might change my name and join the Taliban. Their clothes are cool, kebabs are nice, have cups of chai and shisha pipes. It won't be tough for us to speak on an Arabic Duolingo streak. It's rough that my right hand got blown off by a tank. Now I join the left-hand gang for every single wank. God Blair to thank. He charmed me. Now I've done 2 months.
Start it over.
2 months in the army.
Wow. How about that indeed?
Really ended with a flourish there.
Isn't that something?
Oh, damn it. Had all my buttons mixed up. Well, you know what? Here we are with our Isn't That Something segment. I already hit the button, so let's move into it. Flooding in Russia has not made it onto the show because there haven't been a lot of clips about it. But we have someone speaking English talking about why it deserves to be in the news more. How on your radar has this been?
I'm aware of it, but I don't know much.
So, shocker, Russia's infrastructure hasn't been getting a lot of maintenance, whether that's long term or just because anybody of age to do so is probably busy dying in Ukraine. They have had some they've had some infrastructure failures. Here's a guy talking about it and the consequences that they're concerned about.
Give me a minute and let's talk about the flooding in Russia. What you're looking at here is part of Orenburg, Russia. A city of about 539,000 people where the floodwaters continue to rise as the Ural River knocks one dam after another out of its path. And floodwaters just continue to build up behind these big ice dams that have been created following heavy rain. And in the wake of all of this destruction, what we are not seeing is a government response. The army is spread too thin in Ukraine. There's no Army Corps of Engineers to call out. They're all busy building bridges in Ukraine, trying to get across the Serebets River. Now, this has led to quite a bit of unrest. You got 1 million Russians who have...
What's going on here? That's a lot of hair, right?
Yeah.
And then what's going on here? How did
He's trying to do the Steven Seagal look.
He is doing the Steven Seagal. You want the punani?
Been flooded out, many of whom have lost everything. And widely circulated on the internet recently was video of a town hall meeting in which one of the residents suggested to the politicians in charge that they could all be speared on pitchforks. That's a direct quote. Now, that has also led to this astonishing internet missive. This young Russian woman has posted a video in which she says people have lost everything, which is certainly true. But she then goes on to say, which is also true, Putin has not commented on this publicly at all. The president is silent. Peskov is silent. Everyone is missing. All of our central Russia is flooded and they're quiet.
All right. We don't need to hear him reading somebody else talking about that.
Sure.
What do you think? I mean, is this going to be the dam that breaks? Pun fully intended and stumbled into haphazardly.
I mean, that is a lot of people impacted.
They say there's been like 400,000 dead or casualties in Ukraine. We're almost at that 500,000, right? Putin doesn't listen until he gets to 500,000.
Yeah, I mean, Russia is so large and people are so spread out that
if you're not in Moscow, nobody gives a fuck.
Kinda. Yeah. So I
In
don't
terms of
know.
power centralization too, right?
Right. Yeah. I don't know if this is going to move the needle in any way politically in Russia. It sucks for those people because it should, because politicians should care about their constituents drowning, but not in Russia.
Lots of things in the world to be concerned about over on our non-Russian side of it. We're concerned about losing our jobs. We're concerned about prices as inflation seems to tick back up, I suppose, right?
Mhm.
Worried
Mhm.
about an election and the consequences of being so dire.
Mhm.
But
Oh,
don't
the
worry.
Daily's Monday episode was just like, holy fuck, guys! What could happen if Trump gets back in?
Oh, yeah, it was kind of weird that they did that now. Like, I guess, yeah. I mean,
Well, when Time Magazine has an interview with him coming out this week,
I put that in the other news for you to read to me
Okay.
on Friday.
All right, we'll talk about it then.
Yeah. Well, you can talk about it now. Did you read the whole thing yet, or you just heard?
No, I don't think it's been released yet.
Yeah, it
So
is.
I've just seen. Oh, is it okay? I've just seen people read clips of it on the news. But essentially, it's him saying
author
out loud what he's going to do when.
Yeah, the author's like, he sat in front of me, across from me, in an interview, and said it'll be an imperial presidency,
Mhm.
or described an imperial presidency. Those words were in my head from it. Anyways, don't worry. The CEO of BlackRock has told the World Economic Forum that AI is going to make all our lives better.
I could argue in the developed countries, the big winners are countries that have shrinking populations.
Oh.
Okay, that's something that most people never talked about. We always used to think shrinking population is a cause for negative growth. But in my conversations with the leadership of these large developed countries that have xenophobic immigration policies, they don't allow anybody to come in, shrinking unemployment, shrinking demographics, these countries will rapidly develop robotics and AI and technology. And if the promise, I didn't say it's going to happen, but if the promise of all that transforms productivity, which most of us think it will, we'll be able to elevate the standard of living of countries and the standard of living of individuals.
Standard of living for who? Right? It's still going to go, like, all that's going to happen is they're going to say, great, we can get this much more out of every day, so we can produce more widgets and the price will go down and we'll sell more and you'll get paid. Well, why would you get paid more?
Yeah.
Right.
You wouldn't.
Right.
Yeah, it's for the top couple of percent, basically. Yeah.
Even with shrinking populations. And so the paradigm of negative population growth is going to be changing. And the social problems that one will have in substituting humans for machines is going to be far easier in those countries that have declining populations.
It's a very reassuring thing to say to a room of declining populations.
Yeah, somebody should get him and Peter Zian in a room
Yeah.
to see what happens.
I just feel like the Chinese people in that room are probably pretty pleased to have heard that.
Sure. I mean, why wouldn't you trust the CEO of BlackRock? I mean, he seems perfectly trustworthy.
Yeah. Right. All right. Well, let's get into. I only have a couple of clips on the subject of Israel, but I think we naturally will have plenty to say on it.
Sure.
To start off with, here's a clip of Joan Donahue. Joan Donahue was the president of the International Court of Justice, the ICJ. So that was where the trial was, where people said that. Well, you probably hear people say like Israel lost in court, or said it's a genocide, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they were on trial. There was like a genocide trial, right? Is that what I'm
Yes,
stumbling
there
out
was a
at?
genocide trial. Yeah.
I've been fumbling with the screen while I've been talking. So for shorthand, people say Israel is committing a genocide, and the ICJ proved so. This is the former president of the ICJ. I say former because she just retired. She retired after being involved in handing down the decision that I just said people say how they say it. She's going to say it very clearly how the president of the court believes their decision went.
Would it be fair to say, and I'm no lawyer, and many people watching and listening will not be lawyers, but would it be fair to say that the key point that you made your initial order and ruling upon was whether or not there was a plausible case that should be taken on by the court of genocide in the case of Israel's actions in Gaza after October 7, and you quite clearly decided that there was a plausible case? Is it right to say that's at the heart of what you decided?
You know, I'm glad I have a chance to address that, because the court's test for deciding whether to impose measures uses the idea of plausibility, but the test is the plausibility of the rights that are asserted by the applicant, in this case, South Africa. So the court decided that the Palestinians had a plausible right to be protected from genocide, and that South Africa had the right to present that claim in the court. It then looked at the facts as well, but it did not decide, and this is
before she gets into that, I mean, that's a huge thing when people say, like, they decide. It's not like most places where they're like, yeah, this is you have a case, let's bring it to trial, right? This is, we made the decision, you can bring it here because they have the right to have their case heard here.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
It then looked at the facts as well, but it did not decide, and this is something where I'm correcting what's often said in the media. It didn't decide that the claim of genocide was plausible. It did emphasize in the order that there was a risk of irreparable harm to the Palestinian right to be protected from genocide. But the shorthand that often appears, which is that there's a plausible case of genocide, isn't what the court decided.
Wow, that's very clear. Yeah, so the plausibility was about whether or not they had the right to be
Even heard in their court.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you basically, if you have standing?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess let's talk a little bit about what's going on with the campuses. I think I have 2 clips about the campuses, and then just plenty of us to talk, because this isn't the first time somebody's brought this question up, but I thought I'd ask you what you'd think. If the people who set up the camp on private property were doing like an anti-gay protest or calling to ban LGBT activity, would you expect them to be treated the same way as these people are be treated? And if no, how would you tell me I'm making a false equivalence? I'm assuming that's a false equivalence.
I don't think I think it is a false equivalence, but I think that they certainly would be kicked out as well.
So you think should they have done that, even if it's not equivalent in terms of like their complaints, they would have been treated a lot more harshly than these protesters have?
Absolutely. I feel like it's very difficult to draw the line here between what is sensible and what kind of protesting makes sense given the variables at hand. And there's a certain segment of the protesters which are very loud and like to break shit. And then there's a certain segment of the protesters that actually care about this cause, and really don't want to see their country to continue to allow Israel to do what it's doing in Gaza in the Middle East. And so just when you see the pictures or the video on your screen, it's very difficult to determine who is what. And so there's a knee-jerk reaction on one side to say these people are all anti-Semitic, they're anarchists, they just want to burn the world down. And the other side saying, look, Israel's committing atrocities in Gaza and our country supporting it. I don't want our country to do that, and I have a voice. I need to say something about this. And that just all gets lost in this argument because the lines are so blurry.
Well, then they start destroying property, and
they start destroying buildings and breaking windows, and
and then you're no longer protected by the First Amendment.
Correct.
At that point, and people keep wrapping themselves in that. So I mean, I just don't. They want a divestment from Airbnb. Like I can't tell what they really want. Like one of the,
and I don't know if they know what they really want.
I don't think they do either. I mean, when they're clear about it, they say, yeah, we want Colombia to divest from Airbnb, but also Google.
Well, yeah, Google runs the huge.
Oh, I get it, but it's like Airbnb and Google. It's like Like I like the idea of organizing under a principle of BDS, boycott, divest, and sanction. I don't like it as a movement, if that makes sense. Like I don't think that it should be something where it's like, it's the problem that I've always had about having a union job. Not that I have a problem with unions per se, but having a union job where they make all these decisions and vote as a block for me, where I'm like, well, I think I'm a little bit more individual enough. Like I can choose to BDS. I guess I wouldn't sanction, but like to demand that the university does that on a scale that deals with other things, because you're dealing with pensions and just all these other outside problems.
Yeah, and most of these universities have billions of dollars worth of investments, from all of their alumni contributions, and they fund a lot of their, these scholarships for student athletes and other scholarships based on that fund they have. And it's difficult to just move billions of dollars around overnight, because suddenly you have a problem with, where that money is going.
But also, like, didn't we actually heavily sanction Russia? Like, and
we did.
Nothing's happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw this, but
what do you think is going to happen when Colombia stops supporting Israel? Like, nothing.
I see your point. Yeah, it won't really impact change.
No.
I don't know if you saw, but Brown University said today that they're considering actually divesting themselves from stock portfolios that they have that are associated with Israeli companies. So, I mean, strangely enough, there are some universities actually capitulating to this demand. It definitely feels like we're in a mob moment now, where
that's the part that I don't like. Like,
yeah,
that's the part where I'm like, hey, I like what you just said. I think that's probably a good move if you want to send that signal.
Yeah.
But
they're saying we're going to do it. But Brown said they're going to do it responsibly. They're not going to. It's not going to happen overnight. That's just not possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Which makes perfect sense to me. And I think it'd be fine if other universities decided to do that. But you have like that clip we played last week, where clearly that protester had no idea what the fuck she was doing there or why.
Right.
She
was just behaving off of emotions.
Caught up in the movement.
Well, let me play a clip about that.
Okay. All right.
So this is
George Packer at The Atlantic had a big piece, or a piece.
What was he apologizing for this time?
He's not this time. He'll apologize for this piece later. He sort of ties this all into kind of the revolutions of 1968 coming home to roost in such a way. And it says, ideas born in the 60s, subsequently refined and complicated by critical theory, post-colonial studies, and identity politics, are now so pervasive and unquestioned that they've become the instincts of students who are occupying their campuses today. Group identity assigns your place in a hierarchy of oppression between oppressor and oppressed. No room exists for complexity or ambiguity. Universal values such as free speech and individual equality only privilege the powerful. Words are violence. There's nothing to debate. End quote.
What do you think about that?
I mean, I tend to agree with that. It feels
that's the madness of the mob that you don't want to be wrapped up in, right?
Right. Yeah.
I thought that was what you were saying. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Because at that point, then there is no conversation being had. This is just people yelling into the void, and
the heckler's veto.
Yeah,
talk about that.
Exactly. I mean, I don't.
So the heckler's veto was something that me and Alan and everybody up until apparently 2012 learned as like just a concept of, yes, we all have free speech. Here's something you don't want to happen. You don't want someone to have the ability to come into this room where we're having challenging discussion and shout us all down, and that one person or that angry group of people get to make sure that nobody else gets to experience what we're here to try to present. That's called the heckler's veto. You don't want that.
Right. It prevents discourse, and the whole point of free speech is to allow these ideas to see the sunlight.
And the thing is, like, you can have no free speech where nobody has a heckler's veto. You can have that, and nobody's allowed to have no free speech. But if you're going to have free speech, you have to put up with the fact that people will try to break the rules with the heckler's veto, and we all have to hold them accountable and say, we don't fall for that shit. And when I see mobs doing this, it drives me crazy, because it's like, man, you know what? I'm probably for what you are. I'm for what you want. I'm for what most of these people fucking want. I think they look like clowns like this. And I think that they're undermining the mission. I'm glad to see that Brown, it's such a weird position to be in, because you said that. I was like, good. I'm glad Brown's doing that.
Right.
I guess I'm glad they're doing it. I mean, I don't think that I don't think that it should come as the result of responding to a mob and giving them that power. Because that's the problem with the heckler's veto is you capitulate and then people do it more, right?
Well, because you're negotiating with terrorists essentially
Exactly.
at that
It's-
point,
it's
and
that
there's no positive end game from that.
Because the model used to be you'd protest outside loudly before some controversial speaker, and then you'd go inside and ask them challenging questions at the end of their speech, and then protest loudly as they leave. And that sent the message. Like it got all the
But
same.
but you don't block or prevent them from getting in the building violently. You don't, hop in the stadium or whatever and just completely not allow them to talk
Because they have free speech, which allows them to have dumb ideas. And as long as they fall short of violence, they still get free speech, just like you do, as long as you.
And all you're doing is sabotaging your own movement if that's what you're going to do.
100%. 100%.
You're
And
gonna
it,
lose
and it
public support.
enforces fascisms, all these people on the other
Yeah.
side. Because look at all the headlines that are like Republicans pounce. Republicans, you see that phrase, Republicans pounce, whenever people on the left do things incredibly stupid that Republicans rightfully should pounce on and say, look at the left being stupid right now. Right.
Yeah.
But like CNN and MSNBC, it's Republicans pounce headlines about how, I think we got a clip about Trump in the second half talking about that, pouncing on this, right?
Pouncing.
We jumped way ahead. I have a thought about that, and it has more to do with, I had a thought I wanted to say at the end of that clip was that one generation's ideas become the instincts of the next generations. And when you have ideas about identity, dialectic, oppression, oppressor, and those become the instincts, and you couple that up with maybe parents who are like our age, right? That didn't protest with everything that went on under the Bush administration, who grew up from parents that did protest in 1968. You get this weird, like, parents maybe saying like, well, I wish I would have, or some of these faculty members, you're not seeing the 60-year-olds go out there and hold hands with the students.
No.
It's people that were like, we didn't push enough under Bush.
Right.
And I was a coward because my parents fought before. So they're stepping up in this moment, right? Like,
it's like the cultural memes got handed down without the whole context.
Well, it was taught as a truth, kind of, right?
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
And there's something to that. And then you couple all that with, did you have something? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
You couple all that with the fact that like tuition spiked in like 2010 and it briefly crept back up last year, but it's been declining since 2010. So they have a lot of money, but the higher ed model is a failing model right now. Like, it's doing all right, especially the biggest and the best ones. They sort of become self-licking ice cream cones, but the industry it's an institution that's in decline. And just like any declining industry, you're going to see shitty CEOs, right? Think like Kmart, right? Like
Sure.
Any declining industry, you start seeing shitty CEOs in this. So the presidents of these universities aren't fit to be able to respond to these moments well. And then,
I mean, we saw that with the testimony before Congress. I mean, obviously,
yeah,
what the fuck they were doing.
Yeah, exactly. And then you factor that on top of like people largely have lost like their sense of purpose, right? So that goes back to like, well, why would I not protest? Why would I not, and then you have these feckless leaders there. I think all the way down, this is just like a perfect formula.
Yeah, I mean, you see even businesses who in the past had barriers to entry for certain positions where you had to have, a BA or whatever. Even like city governments, state governments are starting to remove those barriers because they realize that, first of all, getting that piece of paper doesn't necessarily make you the best employee. And a lot of people are opting out because it's just not, the investment. Do you want to have, $60,000 in student loans to pay back for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Like, and what does it really get me?
Right.
So yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah. I mean, and like I'm saying, because of what you're describing, you have bad managers in these institutions, so they're not well equipped to push back when these challenging moments arise. Just like our leaders in politics, right? Like they're not equipped to. Donald Trump wasn't equipped to deal with a pandemic. It wasn't.
Definitely not.
Turns out when you elect a reality TV show host, that's what you get. But I don't know how much better Hillary would have been.
Hey, we fucked around and found out.
Yeah. Let's see. Is there anything on here that I think there's some? Oh, we got one more clip here. This is a student outside. Where is this? Oh yeah. So this is a Columbia student talking about. I guess she's being like a spokesperson for the encampment, saying that she demands the university to help feed protesters occupying Hamilton Hall.
It's not presenting.
Well, first of all, we're saying that they're obligated to provide food to students who pay for a meal plan here.
But you mentioned that there was a request that food and water be brought in, unless I misunderstood.
To allow it to be brought in. I mean, well, I guess it's ultimately a question of what kind of community and obligation Columbia.
I don't think that this is the point of this video, but is it bizarre to you that they're somebody who's better at joke writing would have the joke already about how they're an encampment and they need checkpoints and humanitarian aid to be brought in, and they're like demanding it.
Feels it has to its students. Do you want students to die?
Like, you could just capitulate and nobody's going to die anymore. This sounds so familiar to another story going on elsewhere.
And starvation, or get severely ill, even if
hold on.
students to feels it has to its students. Do you want students to die of dehydration and starvation, or get severely ill, even if they disagree with you? If the answer is no,
you're going to take this person seriously. They're like, yeah, people are going to die of dehydration and starvation right under your watch.
Right in New York. Yeah, you set up all those tents and didn't think to bring some bottled water with you? Like, come on, man. What's going on?
Then you should allow basic. I mean, it's crazy to say because we're on an Ivy League campus, but this is like basic humanitarian aid we're asking for. Like, could people please have a glass of water?
You're going to get hellfire missiled or whatever Israel loves doing to humanitarian workers.
But they did put themselves in that very deliberately, in that situation and in that position. So it seems like you're sort of saying, we want to be revolutionaries, we want to take over this building, now would you please bring us food and water?
Nobody's asking them to bring anything. We're asking them to not violently stop us from bringing in basic humanitarian aid.
They're stopping the delivery of food.
We are looking for a commitment from them that they will not stop.
What?
They haven't stopped it.
I don't know to what extent it has been attempted, but we're looking for a commitment.
So a problem that's not happening, we want to make sure that they can commit to them not doing.
This is Elon Musk with doctors not, the whole woke DEI thing.
Yes.
But she's trying to like equivocate their situation to Gazans, I guess. I don't know what she's saying.
I thought I was doing that clumsily, but I'm thinking that's her point.
I think that was her point,
Okay, well,
which is wild to say on an Ivy League campus on a lawn.
Wearing a scarf.
Right.
On a cool day.
Do you not see the irony here?
Yeah.
Ma'am, apparently not.
You shouldn't assume her gender. This account I'm about to play is kind of condescending, but he makes some good points from time to time. He definitely leans conservative, so he kind of he's picking on the left a bit. This is let me know what you think about these points.
In 1966, Mao Zedong used an army of college students to carry out his Cultural Revolution. Over the next 10 years, they killed as many as 2 million people and imprisoned even more. The goal was to rid the country of people who weren't loyal communists and loyal to Mao. He was able to convince college kids to commit these atrocities because they're the dumbest adults. And it's not their fault, they just became adults, but they don't know how adults treat other adults and how adults can manipulate other adults. And because they have nothing and have done nothing with their life so far, they're very vulnerable to people telling them they're important and powerful. Just listen to this one college kid from just the other day.
We're living out the values that we were taught in our studies here.
You see, not even thinking for herself, just blindly doing what she was taught. That's why we use them to fight our wars, and you can't be president till you're 35.
So is he comparing the cultural warriors of China in 1966 to current college?
He's comparing the fact that they can be used to leverage that they can be counted on. Just like 2020, man. Like, just get everybody riled up and in the streets.
I mean, anybody can be manipulated regardless of
Oh
your
yeah,
age. And
but
actually,
it
if
is
you're
a
gonna compare
it is a perfect overlap with when you don't have very much responsibility and you don't have a job yet and it's the end of the school year.
if you're going to compare it to 2020, most of those people in that crowd that overran the Capitol were not college kids.
Not what I was talking about.
Okay, what were you talking about?
The entire summer?
Oh,
Jesus, Alan.
that.
Yeah,
That,
you're
got
thinking
it.
of January 6th. That was
I am.
2021. Get your dates
You're
right.
right. You're right.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't quite buy that argument. I understand.
You don't?
That.
I
No,
think the one thing he's wrong about is to call them the dumbest adults. They're up there.
I agree.
But I think
Yeah.
well ingrained in their thoughts, closed mind. Not all elderly, because a lot of elderly aren't. But I think you get a lot more calcified thinking from older people, and you might be the least experienced adults, but you're getting a lot of the most creative thoughts and a lot of pent up. Why haven't I been able to express myself until I turned 18? Energy, which is valuable.
Yeah, no, I guess college age kids are susceptible to certain ways of thinking, and they can see, they don't have the history or the historical narrative
No,
necessarily
Marxism sounds good.
that people lived through, and saw like, wait a minute, those ideas didn't work at all. They sound cool in a vacuum, but they don't work in real life. So there is some of that. That's missing.
Libertarianism.
Sure.
Give a vote. Fair. It sounds good. All right. I need to play this on my phone. Great. I could have got this ready. I wanted to pick up about halfway through. So this is from Fire, which is fuck. No,
Is fuck the first F?
No, Freedom.
Freedom.
Yeah. Okay, Alan. What clip am I even in? Oh, right there. Okay. Get out of here.
Columbia University.
So this is I'm going to start about halfway through.
We want administrators.
So this is the God damn, dude. I swear to God. This is the spokesperson for Fire, Alex Moray. It's the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression. So they're like a First Amendment group, but kind of like the way me and you are. We're like, no, not when not the way Elon Musk thinks the First Amendment works. Also, not the way people that break down university property think the First Amendment works either. So you're all going to be mad at me, but I think both of you also have a lot of reasons to agree with me that you should be able to express yourself, just not quite the way you're doing it. And turns out you're not the biggest victim in the world, Elon Musk. Okay, back on the subject. She's talking about these college campus protests.
People in charge, even the governor, in every situation to be looking at the facts and protecting peaceful protest whenever possible.
Where is the line? And let me ask a question from what Richard Nixon might call the silent majority. What about the right of students who just want to go to college and enjoy commencement without thinking about any horrible activities going on in any part of the world?
Well, they've got the right to go to class. I wouldn't necessarily agree that they have the right to be totally free from.
See, that's where she gets everyone mad at her, right? Because it's like she's like, well, I can't promise you'll be free no matter where or safe.
Necessarily agree that they have the right to be totally free from, to go to school in a bubble, right? Especially on public college campuses or campuses like Columbia that promise free speech. Part of a liberal education is having that diversity of voices, viewpoint diversity on campus. So that's something, that's a feature, not a bug, right, of a liberal education. That said, we've definitely seen situations like, where protesters are linking arms, prohibiting people from going to classes or taking over indoor areas of campus, vandalizing. That's not protected speech. But the good news is that even schools like, private schools like Columbia that aren't necessarily bound by the First Amendment. They have long had First Amendment-like policies that protect a really wide range of speech, even speech that some students find, really hateful or offensive. And these schools also have policies that don't allow unprotected speech, things like true threats, things like discriminatory harassment, that meet the objective legal standards. Those things can still be punished. But what we've heard a lot in recent weeks are calls to punish protected speech, even from bodies like congressional committees. And that is incredibly troubling.
All right, that's the end of the clip. Went on a little long, sorry.
That was a little long. I mean, I think I agree with a lot of what she was talking about there as far as, I mean, like the clip you played with the guys or the people yelling in the library and the guy's like, hey, this is a library.
This is a library.
I'm going to school here. Like, what are you, like, leave me the fuck alone.
This is library.
Right. There definitely is a line that has been crossed by a number of these protesters, and it's not cool. I don't know how to positively impact that movement, or how, I'm not sure what could be done to get these protesters to understand when they're crossing that line and they're sabotaging their own movement, other than talking into a microphone like we are. But
I ain't listening.
Yeah.
Do you speaking when you said you don't know what kind of impact it would have, it reminded me of another question I wanted to ask you. You know how universities have largely been hiring left-leaning professors?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that this moment will be a wake-up call to them to maybe not have their entire faculty join the protesting student side in the future? Like, maybe if you hired a couple of conservatives, you'd still have people on staff?
Yeah, I do think there is a bit of
wake up moment to the administrative.
No, I was gonna say there's a bit of self-selection in that.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
There are less
happened.
Yeah, there are less conservatives in that pool that want to do those jobs.
Uh-huh.
So just naturally is going to be more left-leaning professors. But I think that, I mean, even to that guy's point that left NPR saying, like, look, if there has to be an opposing viewpoint in the newsroom, otherwise, we have to have a debate here. So there has to be somebody on the other side who's willing to say, no, I don't think that's right. And then we can have a conversation. If we don't have that, then, first of all, you're losing half your audience or close to it.
Right.
And you're losing a lot of probably better ideas that you would come to if you had that conversation.
Right. Yeah. It's the same argument for fine. We'll hire some women, like we'll get some ideas in here that we wouldn't have had if we didn't have these pesky broads tripping around. Yeah. It's a good point. It made society better, right, Alan? Let's get to the elections. A little bit of election news. So a lot of the election news falls down into the best of the right, best of the Trump cult, best of the left. So we'll push some of that down there. I hate to do this, guys, because good news doesn't sell. You know what? This will piss some of you off. There, that's how it is. You gotta get people riled up,
Okay, yeah.
I have some good Biden clips.
Oh.
Biden was on Howard Stern.
I heard.
Oh, yeah, you did hear about this. I suppose it was a couple days ago. This isn't it. This isn't the Biden. This isn't the Stern clip. This is just, I noted this as good. Well, let me play this first. This is Biden with a good night's sleep.
Well, folks sort of look down on us because of what our dads did. They weren't in business. They weren't executives. They weren't something special. But they are special. But people like Donald Trump learned a different lesson. He learned the best way to get rich is inherited. He learned that paying taxes is something working people did, not him. He learned that telling people you're fired was something to laugh about. Not in my household, not in my neighborhood. I mean it sincerely. No joke.
No joke. All the lines. I was in the footage.
Especially being fired because you had no protection. Folks, I guess that's how you look at the world from Mar-a-Lago. We all grew up.
That was pretty good, Biden. Pretty good, Biden. Do we have any White House Correspondents' Dinner?
We do. That's down in Best of the Left, though.
Okay. All right, cool.
Now, as I hinted at before, this is Stern, Biden on Howard Stern. Two clips from there. Howard Stern interview. There was a point where it was Howard just completely kissing his ass. But he makes a point in a way that we were never Stern guys growing up.
No, not really.
We liked rival podcasts, excuse me, rival radio shows,
Mhm.
Don and Mike and Opie and Anthony. And really more Don and Mike. You didn't really
Yeah.
listen to O&A much, did you?
Not
They
much,
didn't
no.
they weren't on the the
No, so I only had some interaction with them and then Bode mostly
Yeah.
after that. Yeah.
Anyway, so we didn't grow up on Stern, but if you grew up in the 90s, you grew up on Stern. He was a part of your life. And it's weird to see him being edgy here is him kissing Joe Biden's ass. But he's doing it in a way where you're like, okay, yeah, some of these thoughts are somewhat partisan, but well articulated in a way that like clearly king of all media can.
I want to thank you for doing this today. I want to thank you for your compassion. You know, the reason I'm so excited to talk to you was because I wanted to understand the tragedy in your life and how you dealt with it. And you're the kind of leader I love because we're lucky to have you in the Oval Office and serving as the father of the country. Because if you're a good father to your family, which you are, I know you'd be a good father to the country. And I want to thank you for providing a calming influence, an organized administration post-COVID, getting that vaccine out. I
feel
remember
like that is worth pausing on. Like, I realize faced with another 4 years of Joe Biden or someone else, you're
Mhm.
tempted to be like, oh, someone else sounds really good. But like those 4 years of Trump were so fucking bananas.
So
it
chaotic.
was just like, thank God the people in the Biden administration will be in charge. Like
Sure.
it just I'm not ready to go live that life again for another 4 years plus.
Yeah, I'd rather not.
And I get
It's
what he says when he says that, but it sounds so corny in an election
It does.
year,
It
and
does.
like,
And I haven't heard him. I didn't even know he was still doing a show, to be honest.
yeah, I know, me too. So you haven't heard him sound like this, right?
I haven't heard him sound like this ever.
Yeah, me
So it's a
too.
little bit jarring. But
It was for me as well.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
Same feelings.
what the world was like at that point, getting NATO, getting us to feel comfortable, standing up to Putin, the incredible large growth in the jobs, unemployment rate down. I'll give you your greatest hits. The lowest uninsured rate in history. 4 out of 5 Americans are covered for less than $10 a month. Knocking off a few ISIS leaders, cutting the
If it's 4 out of 5, I sure like to be in that group. $10.
Yeah, same.
Jesus.
emissions in half. I mean, you've always been an environmentalist. Even the marijuana reform laws, enough to
Okay.
sit there and fight in that battle. Respect for Marriage Act. What the hell is with people with this gay stuff? Who cares if someone's gay? How is it
Wow.
affecting anybody? People in love, it's good, right? Love is good.
My dad said, we saw two men. I was kissing one another in Rodney Square when I was going in to get a license.
I am gay.
I looked at him. He said, Joey, it's simple. They love each other.
That's it. That's how I look at it.
You know who deserves credit? The American people are relentless. The American people are stepping up.
I want to thank you.
And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
I didn't really have anything to do with Joe, but leave it to an 80-year-old. Can I play one more clip of okay. I feel partisan playing this much good Biden. Oh, maybe I don't have more good Biden. Maybe that was it. This says 7 Republican senators. Oh, yeah, okay. So Biden, look, I'm not saying it's a hard-hitting interview, but sitting there and talking in an interview environment would be a place where his senility would, if it's bad enough, because we know it's there.
Yeah.
If it's bad enough, you'd see it in that, like,
Absolutely. In that sort of fishbowl, it would have come out.
yeah, you'd be like, sir, Mr. Howard, stop talking. Would you like to respond? Yeah, exactly.
I've had, and I gave my word I'd never say the names, and I never will. In the last 3 years, I've had 7 sitting Republican senators.
Now we know he likes to lie. 7's a good lie number.
It's a good number.
Right? Like when you're fudging your
Yeah.
time card, you're like, end it with a 7. Nobody
7.
will know. Yeah. I know I added 45 minutes. It ends in a 7. Plus, I mean, if I was greedy, I'd add an extra hour. What's 45 minutes? 7. Yeah. 7 senators, 7 Republican senators have come up to him in private.
Well, 2 are gone now. 7 sitting Republican senators.
Well, now we know who the 2 are, dickhead.
Joe Manchin and Kevin
Cheney.
McCarthy?
No, it was Republican. So it was
Oh,
Cheney
right.
and
Cheney, yeah.
Cheney was in the House, huh? So
Yeah,
well,
sure.
it's Mitt Romney.
Ah.
And not Ken Buck, because he was also in the House. Anyway.
Just call me to tell me, Joe, I agree with you, but I just can't do it. He'll get me.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you get these calls in secret where guys go, listen, I can't say it publicly, but I'm for you and I'm going to vote for you. I'm a Republican, but screw it. I can't vote for this guy because he's talking about ending the democracy.
Well, they're not saying they're going to vote for me. They're saying, I agree with you.
And do you say to them, you coward? Why don't you say something publicly? Where's Jeb Bush? Where's George Bush? Where are these guys? Why don't they say, hey, I'm interested in saving the democracy for our
They
grandchildren?
don't want the smoke. That's
Well, I don't think the election's over yet on that score.
I like that answer too.
I mean, it's obvious. Even the daily episode on Monday, they were talking about members of the House and Senate being wary of how they vote because they were concerned that their families might be in physical danger, which is not an exaggeration. That's literally true. Stormy McDaniels is
Did you say Stormy McDaniels?
Stormy, is it not McDaniels? Stormy, whatever. Stormy is having to hire a bunch of security because she's getting death threats all the time now with the case in New York. So, I mean, you can call them cowards.
She was wearing a dress with mushrooms on it, Alan.
Yeah,
She was asking for it. See what she was wearing?
I mean, so there are lots of reasons why people vote the way they do. I mean, you can call them cowards, but the threat of physical harm is real. It's not like they made that up.
Fair. Yeah, well, it beats being a dog in Kristen Noem's house, but it's the second half. So there was a CNN outlier poll that came out. I don't have an audio for it. So it was an outlier poll by CNN. Normally, when polls are not in line with the rest of the polling data, the company that produces it says this is an outlier poll, right? CNN didn't say that. And so they had this poll that's getting a lot of press right now about Trump leading in swing states and nationally. And I feel like it's worth pointing out that this time in 2016, this exact week in 2016, those same polls, or CNN had the swing in the polls, the variety, the range in the polls. Hillary was leading by either 8 points or 13 points.
That's a massive swing.
Yeah. Now she did win the popular vote, so
sure.
So let's call it 10% off, right? So yeah. Also, have you seen whenever you probably don't see Trump's posts, but whenever there's a new poll that's favorable for Trump, it's two bar graphs where one is like massively taller than the other, and then it's like 51-49 Trump.
I haven't seen that. So that doesn't surprise me at all.
He's fucking hilarious, man.
That is very funny.
Speaking of that context, when people are polled today asking about what their feeling was about the economy when Trump was president, like, do you like the economy now? No. Did you like the economy now when Trump was president? Yeah. They were 60% of people say they're favorable for Trump's economy. 60% when polled today. When polled this week, 4 years ago. So while Trump was president, so the time period that those people are imagining, 30% people endorse Trump's. It's just like the benefit you have of not being the incumbent while it's so hard to make so many different people fucking happy. Like, and you're just by nature pissing off a tribe, like, because everybody's so partisan. Like,
that's such an interesting bias to in the moment be like, nah, this sucks, and then in hindsight, oh, that was great. Those were the good old days.
Yeah.
Our brains do weird things, man.
I'll ask you a question about nothing, and we'll go to half.
Okay.
I saw this written down, and it was like the first time that, you know, it's like ROADs, words get weird when you stare at them. Horseshoe. Horseshoe. First off, there's horse e shoe. So there's two S's with an E in the middle. And that's kind of weird for the sound for horseshoe, right? Horseshoe doesn't sound like there's two S's, right?
No.
And if you look at it, it says horse's hoe. All right. I'm glad it made you laugh.
That's pretty good.
We'll grab a drink.
Yeah, see, there's like. Andrew just sent me a music video. Life in Silhouettes. Never heard of them.
Hello.
Hello.
I don't have a hat on.
Huh.
You got a hat?
Yeah.
Oh, fine. It's fine. I don't have to have a hat. Oh, this is working. Let's figure out a question to ask coming back here.
Okay.
You want to do a little trivia-ish type question, like can you guess type thing?
Sure. Oh, by the way, just I have the game for the Friday episode.
Thrash told me I'm excited.
Okay. All right. Good.
Not used to being in this position. I'm excited.
What you got?
So prior to, did you see they got Voyager fixed?
Yeah.
I
It
sent
was
you an
actually a
article.
headline I cut last week.
Oh, cool. I
yeah.
put it in other news if you want to
Okay.
talk about it. But
Yeah. Okay.
So they fixed Voyager, which had me think about the pale blue dot picture, which is Voyager's like last image before it left the solar system or whatever,
Solar
right?
system, yeah.
And then in the context of like the first photos of Earth from space,
Yeah.
prior to that, first of all, nobody thought the Earth was flat. That's like a we're dumb. Like that's a we're dumb now thing.
Yes.
So there's old depictions and old maps, and the Earth's round, or it's like this T shape, so that they can display it. But they knew it was round. Columbus just thought it was a smaller circle. Okay. Anyway, what feature would you guess was always missing from depictions of Earth as a globe in like previous attempts to do that before taking a photo from space?
Huh. So this is like a naturally occurring feature, like a mountain range or something like that? Is that
Think of it as like the opposite of, oh wow, there's no borders. It's
Oh.
like, oh right, we forgot about that when we drew our picture of what the Earth looks like.
I'm kind of drawing a blank here. I don't know. Is it something to do with like what Antarctica looks like, or
No.
Okay.
I'm glad
okay.
I stumped you.
Yeah, I
Clouds.
don't- Oh.
All the old pictures, there's like a couple of wisps, but it's like, here's what Europe is. This is Africa. This is a couple of straight lines across everything. Like that was one of the big mind blowers of those first pictures of Earth was, holy shit, look at weather from on top of it.
Oh,
And we've
the
just always grown
atmosphere
up
looking-
seeing that. Like
Right.
nobody'd ever seen what the top of a cloud looked like other than like from a plane, right? And there was a whole thing then too. People like there was a whole culture about like the way culture changed, or philosophy
Even prior to planes,
with jet setting.
Yeah, prior to planes though, they wouldn't even have had that.
I don't know if you put a balloon up high enough to really.
I mean,
get-
yeah, or maybe if you're on like climbing Kilimanjaro or Everest, I would think you could
yeah.
see
Well, that was the one before that was like all the,
Oh, okay.
the authors talking about like the spirit of the hills and like the freedom of
Right.
summiting something. Yeah. Right. Yes. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, but nobody ever drew the Earth with clouds. They're like, clouds. We were forgetting something. It was, of
That is
course.
a very interesting fact.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
Weird, man.
Well, let's get into the Trump cult. We are in the second half, and that's what we're supposed to do. So we didn't talk about Trump's trials at all in the first half. Isn't that strange? So before we get into Trump's trials, let's just have a quick check-in on the cult. I didn't share this tab. This guy says he believes in law and order.
The law.
So you're a law and order guy.
Well, I mean, yeah. If we don't have rules, what you got? Chaos.
I have to ask, Donald Trump was just found guilty of fraud, $385 million. Law
Fraud So?
and order.
I'm not electing a priest.
You know, but does that bother you that
Thoughts. He has both thoughts the same, and they're just right there. It's just like two buckets to choose from, right? Like I keep
cognitive
these thoughts
dissonance.
over here, I keep these thoughts over there. You come at me with this, I pull out of that one. Like these don't have to touch.
was found guilty of that, being a law and order person?
Well, compared to what?
Compared to what?
I'm saying he did a thing that was very illegal. He owes hundreds of millions of dollars. You're a law and order guy. Does that bother you?
Well, I mean,
Just watching the cognitive.
You can see the
dissonance, it
smoke
was
coming
all-
out.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I have a preconceived thought. I need
Right.
to make it work with what my new inputs are.
Is he the only one that's ever did that?
Here we go.
I didn't say he's the only one who ever did that.
Okay, I know that. That's a loaded question.
Well,
he's the
it
first
seems
president to
A
be
to B.
indicted.
If you really value law and order, but Trump is guilty of crimes, does it bother you that Trump, your guy, did a fraud that is costing him nearly $400 million?
Well, it bothers me, but it ain't going to deter my vote, sir. I still vote for him. If he had 21 million felonies, I'm voting for him. I believe.
America. Where's that one?
America.
Ugh. No words for that one.
That's fine. You want to hear about the newest complaint? Because they got to protect their daddy. So
Mhm.
this is Jesse Waters, the new Tucker. This is Jesse Waters. There's just, you can't stand somebody mistreating our favorite boy. So, it's cold in the courtroom, Alan. It's cold. And it's not
Oh.
fair. An active lifestyle does not, which the president obviously loves, does not, it's not good for an active lifestyle to be sitting in a courtroom all day.
They're draining his brain and his body. Now, I don't like to sit. They say sitting is the new smoking. You're going to take a man who's usually golfing or in action, and you're going to sit him in a chair in freezing temperatures and just let people rip you and you can't say anything? 4 days a week? 8 hours a day?
No, come on. You're allowed to insult a juror. You're allowed a little witness tampering. He's got a point. When he puts it like that, don't you feel like they made a point?
That takes a toll.
Takes a toll. You never know. You're going to go down to your playpen where they allow you to have your free speech corner, and you're going to, insult the judge's daughter or whatever he did most
He's
recent.
such an active individual. I mean, that's why he's got that dumper on him. Jesus.
Yeah. He's only 250. He's been losing weight, man. He's been on that Ozempic.
Sure. Plus
I
all
love
those-
that Indian News is the only place that I've heard that from. Is Donald Trump on Ozempic?
That is pretty funny.
Okay, let's move on to Trump's trials. This is his argument about going into last week's news about his immunity.
The argument on immunity is very important. The president has to have immunity. This has nothing to do with me. This has to do with a president in the future.
George is standing in the way. That's right. I've heard him say that, so I know it's true.
For 100 years from now, if you don't have immunity.
What about 100 years ago? Like, if they're answering this question now, it's because they presumed this to be true, and it turns out we got to resolve this. Like, it hasn't been a problem before you, buddy.
You're not going to do anything. You're going to become a ceremonial president. You're just going to be doing nothing. You're not.
You know what? Even more for it now. Like, you needed to take the power away from the president. Thank God.
Going to take any of the risks, both good and bad. I mean, you're going to make some great decisions and save the country. And you're going to make some decisions which are unfortunate, but that's the way it is. But you're not going to do anything if you don't have immunity, because otherwise you're going to be prosecuted after.
They have immunity for what is they're talking about the public
Presidential X.
Yes.
Yeah. Not when you're acting as a candidate, and not when you're doing illegal shit. By the way, this is, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the same guy that thinks that Biden should be prosecuted for actions he's committed in office. Is that not right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, yes.
Okay. I mean, okay.
I can't remember who I saw. I know it was like a leftist writer that was like, Biden should signal to the Supreme Court that here's a couple examples of what I could do with what you're suggesting that you're about to do. Like, just a reminder, it's not a threat,
Well, but I feel like they already entertained those thoughts in the oral hearings. I mean, the arguments, it seems like they've already sort of, they've already talked about sending SEAL Team 6 in to assassinate a political rival.
I don't think it has to be that extreme, though, right? I mean,
it doesn't at all.
Yeah. I heard a phrase after we covered the trial. I listened to this podcast Natasha likes called The Prosecutors. They were saying the furthest something gets. So they were talking about appeals courts. I was listening. They did a 14-part series on the Adnan and Hay, the serial case.
Oh, okay.
Dude, Adnan totally did it. He needs to get back in jail like now.
Really?
Or he could be out if he just admitted it. I mean, 20 years is a long time, but oh yeah, he definitely did it. And Jay should have been in trouble for helping him with hiding the body. But anyway, not the point. Oh, so Adnan's trial is going before the Maryland Supreme Court, right? And the commentary that the prosecutors had was that the further a case gets from the initial court, the less that court is dealing with the facts of the case. So the Supreme Court talking about this in an abstract way that we get pissed off at them about makes sense, because that's the way courts that far removed from the actual like individual case address those. And I said something about some similar to that last week. I was like, yeah, well, that is the way that they'll handle that. But that, I feel like that intuitively does sort of describe why you see that, you know.
So once you get removed enough from the subject matter and you start,
you're not deciding what that previous court decided. You're deciding what this means to society.
Right. And you're debating, you know, what the word is means as opposed to, you know,
exactly.
kind of more esoteric things.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's just like that famous esoterical lawyer, Bill Clinton. is what is means reference. Yes. Well done. Yes. So this was when there was a fake news heckler outside the Supreme Court, and Morning Joe Scarborough goes on, I believe, to be a impromptu tirade.
Implicated in the immunity question. Yeah.
Just making sure you're okay.
They've got a reporter, and that guy's yelling that in a South Park voice. Fake news.
Is everything okay? We hear someone yelling.
Yeah, it's fine. We have a heckler here outside the Supreme Court.
You know, I've got to say, they obviously have been following the David Pecker testimony. They're yelling fake news, and they obviously want viewers to know that Donald Trump lied about JFK's assassination, tried to blame Ted Cruz. He's yelling fake news also because Donald Trump lied along with David Pecker. They worked together to lie about Ben Carson, to lie about Hillary Clinton. Fake news all around. So I want to thank him for actually framing it for us. We want to make sure you're okay, but also we want everybody watching to know that that person screaming fake news, obviously talking about all the lies that Donald Trump perpetrated about Hillary Clinton and all of his opponents in 2016. Go ahead.
Which is kind of funny because as much as, I mean, these guys are on MSNBC, right?
Sure.
But they are like very much to blame for the normalization of Donald Trump on those channels in 2016. Like they had Trump on like once a week.
He was a ratings bonanza, and nobody really took him seriously.
Even him.
Yeah, so
I mean,
they thought
even
it was
the fact
just
that his hush money. Sorry, can I?
Right. Yeah, go ahead.
All of his hush money, all of these payments were, you have to be quiet until sometime after the election in 2016.
Right.
It wasn't be quiet for fucking ever. It was until after, which is, by the way, like I feel like that should be evidence that it was like, only until after the election. But that goes back into the bucket of he didn't think he'd win. He just didn't want you to impact it. And then that goes, now you're going to call this Trump derangement syndrome. That goes back to Russia too, right? Because remember all that shit going on with all the communications he was having and back channels with Russia. Maybe that never was anything nefarious. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was a guy who thought he wasn't going to win, but thought he could leverage Putin into him getting a sweet real estate deal on a potential president that even that guy thought he wouldn't win, Trump. Right? And then he ended up winning. He was like, oh fuck. Now I'm going to get investigated for talking to Russia inappropriately for months and paying porn stars. I should have extended their NDA until after,
That does seem a pretty accurate description of what happened. Yes.
Yeah. I've had those two thoughts in my head for a couple of weeks now. If I shoehorned them in, I'm sorry.
You got to get them out. No, it was.
I know. Or else. David Lynch over here,
David Lynch.
Thanks, Slickets, for sending in that. Of course, Slickets sent in the Morning Joe clip. Here's Trump's lawyer making an argument in court that is the opposite. So this is your guy, Ari Melbourne.
No, it's Chris Hayes.
That's Chris Hayes?
Yeah.
Does he look like Ari Melbourne?
No.
I just get well, it just looks like goddamn liberal. Am I right, Alan? Look at those passes and that smug expression on his face. So Chris Hayes is going to make some good points about, I don't remember, about... Trump's lawyer is making an opposite argument in front of the New York.
The immunity.
Court, or the Supreme Court than he made for Trump in his impeachment hearing.
To my mind, one of the most galling things, and it didn't get mentioned yesterday during oral arguments, but
I haven't heard anyone say this.
Worth mentioning here is that during Donald Trump's own impeachment trial for this very matter, his attempts to overturn the election, his own lawyer, before the nation and before the Senate, argued the literal opposite of what his lawyer is now arguing to the Supreme Court.
The senator from Texas's question raises a very, very important point.
In the impeachment.
There is no such thing as a January exception to impeachment. There is only the text of the Constitution which makes very clear that a former president is subject to criminal sanction after his presidency for any illegal acts he commits.
Just, Alan, you like to say things in other words. That was all legalese.
Yeah, I mean, so essentially what he was saying there 4 years ago, or however many years ago it was, in his impeachment trial is that, we don't have to impeach him now because obviously he can face a criminal case after he is president.
Okay, a few years later.
You did not hallucinate that. That was Donald Trump's lawyer in the Senate saying the following. The text of the Constitution makes very clear that a former president is subject to criminal sanction after his presidency for any illegal acts he commits. That was the argument Trump's lawyers used in 2021 to help avoid conviction in the Senate. Don't worry, you can vote to acquit him, and we all still know because it's obvious that he could face criminal sanctions. Now, his lawyers across the street in the Supreme Court 3 years later are making literally the opposite argument to a receptive Supreme Court. To my mind, one of the most galling things.
Yeah, that was. I sent that clip in actually. And
good one, Alan.
When I came across it, I was like, "Holy shit!" That's
when you came across it.
Yeah, it did surprise me that argument wasn't touted around more prominently than it has been. I haven't really seen anybody else say that either. So, but it's just such a galling, like black and white, like it's so clear.
Yeah. Yeah, he already got off for this argument that he's wait, hold on, shit. Yeah, doesn't. Yeah. So if this goes back to on the subject of what we talked about this on Friday, and we're talking about it now. If the Supreme Court is going to send some of the immunity argument back to a lower court to be resolved, that means it's going to go to Chutkan, the Judge Chutkan, to determine whether they're official or private acts. So the court is essentially going to demand Chutkan to prove that these acts are illegal private acts, and if they've got evidence, make that proof. So Chutkan's going to be able to call hearings and have evidence brought out over a trial, and that's going to take place going up and through the election probably. So in a sense, they're telling her, go ahead, prove this very vocally and in front of everyone, and we'll be the jury come election day. It'll be a very public trial in that way. Where it wouldn't.
Does it go to Chutkan or does it go to the appellate courts?
I think the appellate court would have to resolve because they're asking her to make a case for each of the examples.
So they kick it down to Chutkan and then potentially goes to the appellate court again, then goes to the Supreme Court. Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty wild because Chutkan.
I mean, why would it go back to the appellate court? Yeah,
right.
Like resolve this.
Well, because I thought the Supreme Court was ruling on what the appellate court said, whether or not they upheld that argument.
My understanding is it would go back to Chutkan to prove.
I mean, if that's the case,
because they would have to provide evidence for that, and you're not going to do that in an appellate court.
Sure. And
it's pretty wild.
Chutkan is obviously very Trump friendly.
No, Chutkan's not. That's Cannon.
I'm sorry, Chutkan.
Yeah.
Chutkan.
Yes, this would be very. Yeah. This is this is my progressive podcast I listened to, Silver Lining of the Week.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty interesting. If that's what happened.
And to be clear, the Supreme Court is telling Chutkan that she needs to resolve these things, not saying we don't know. If they're entertaining his immunity, it's with the direction going back to someone else to say, prove it then, right?
Right.
Yeah, you didn't prove this enough. Prove it. Like, okay, here's
more proof.
hearings.
That's
Yeah.
it. Okay. All right. I mean, we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah.
It still won't happen before the election, but
Right. But then either way, we're the jury.
sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Instead of just being over with now, Donald, he always makes things worse for him, right?
He steps in it quite often.
Yeah. I'm distracted by a GIF in the comment section on there. I'll close it down. I don't have any clips from the New York trial from this week, I don't think. I did see that David Pecker was up there for 4 days straight. That's a lot of stamina.
Yes. Quite a lot. Yeah.
But
I must have taken a blue chew.
Gross, Alan. You always make it gross. So they had a bunch of boring evidentiary witnesses. They took the day off on Monday for some reason. And then they introduced evidentiary witnesses. These are basically witnesses you bring in to be like, can you verify that document's what we say it is? Yes. All right, get the fuck out of here. Nobody cares what else you have to say. Now we can talk about this document. Thank God. And that opens you up into a bunch of other conversations with your other key witnesses, right?
Right.
So it's been kind of boring days in court, except Donald's still been fucking sleepy up there, right?
Yeah, it's been, yes.
Let's see. What do I have as a note? Prosecutors today wanted to introduce evidence that Trump tried to dissuade witnesses. So that sounds like jury tamper, or witness tampering, but they're not saying it in that way yet. They're saying if they're the evidence they want to bring in of him trying to dissuade witnesses would be evidence of consciousness of guilt.
Right.
Okay. After that, they took a break, and Donald Trump left the courthouse. He appeared grumpy until he realized there was cameras, and then he changed his demeanor and put a fist bump out.
I didn't see that, but that's funny.
Yeah. Also, they played clips in court of Trump saying that Michael Cohen is a good lawyer. That's funny.
They also had some text exchanges between Pecker and another like executive at AMI, the parent company of the National Enquirer, which were pretty, like, they were going back and forth about, hey, this is a big story, we need to deal with this, the whole Stormy Daniels thing. I don't know why I made her Irish earlier, but
McDaniels.
For some reason that seemed to fit. So yeah, it has been pretty, no fireworks, I would say. We probably won't get Cohen until next week or maybe Friday, because they're off tomorrow for mental health.
Daniel says when she goes up there, she's going to stare at him the whole time. He's just going to look straight down.
Yeah, he's not going to engage. So they might close with either her or Cohen, I think, but we'll see.
I don't think he closed with Cohen. He's too. Most of what they're doing right now is establishing the credibility of Cohen's claims with a bunch of other like managers and accountants. Like, hey, you're very boring, but can you prove this is true? Great. We're going to have Michael Cohen up here to say all these things are true later. We need to say somebody else that people believe outside of his former hitman will, be good enough.
Yeah, and so far I think they've done a pretty good job of that.
I don't need to call a lawyer a hitman.
It's close enough.
He said he doesn't listen.
He was a fixer.
Speaking of hitmen, so here's Donald Trump in 2016 saying he doesn't plant stories in the news, even though this is basically what he's on trial for this week and we found out about.
Right.
This is him denying he had anything to do with the story about Ted Cruz's dad killing JFK.
Oh, it's not presenting.
Oh, sorry. Okay, let me start it over.
Okay.
Or him. All I did is point out the fact that on the cover of the National Enquirer, there was a picture of him and crazy Lee Harvey Oswald having breakfast. Now, Ted never denied that it was his father. Instead, he said, Donald Trump, I had nothing to do with it. This was a magazine that, frankly, in many respects, should be very respected. They got OJ, they got Edwards.
He's talking about National Enquirer. He's talking about the organization that killed the stories that all of this trial is about.
They got this. If that was the New York Times, they would have gotten Pulitzer Prizes for their reporting. I've always said, why didn't the National Enquirer get the Pulitzer Prize for
He's always said
Edwards and O.J. Simpson and all of these things?
He's always.
But anyway, so they have a picture, an old picture, having breakfast with Lee Harvey Oswald. Now, nothing. I'm not saying anything. They said, and here's how the press takes that story. So this had nothing to do with me, except I might have pointed it out, but it had nothing to do with me. I have no control over anything. I might have pointed it out. But they never denied. Did anybody ever deny that it was the father? They're not saying, oh, that wasn't really my father. It's a little hard to do because it looks like him.
He's still hitting it.
So here's the story. The press takes that and they say, Donald Trump and his conspiracy theories, he went out and said his father was with Lee Harvey Oswald and he assassinated the president. What did I do?
What did I do?
All I did is...
What did I do?
I did everything right and they indicted me.
He's such a spoiled child. It's hilarious. What did I do? I didn't do anything. I just said, hey, there's a picture. You know, like no big deal.
So you want to hear something great about that picture?
What's that?
It came out recently that picture. So there's a picture with Lee Harvey Oswald and someone who looks like Ted Cruz's dad.
Uh-huh.
And the story is they were handing out leaflets or something in Miami or something, pro-communist, something like that, right? Cuban.
Okay.
Yeah. The National Enquirer doctored that photo.
Of course they did.
So the president, and that whole rant you just heard, the person who was in charge of our nuclear codes.
Right.
Don't at me with what about Joe? I know. Okay. The man who was in charge of our nuclear codes got duped by a National Enquirer, a fucking bat boy Photoshop, you know? And and that was his big defense about, hey, I didn't make this up. You know,
Right.
the National Enquirer printed the photo. Like,
Did you hear the story about early on in his administration? I think when he was still president-elect, he was having a briefing at Trump Tower from like it was like Comey. He was like the head of the FBI and a couple other intelligence agencies, and somehow Pecker went to visit him. And I think Junior found him in the lobby or something and was like, "Hey, come on up. I want you to, talk to Dad. He's really happy about how you helped him out." So he walks in the room. So it's Trump and all these different, FBI, NSA, whatever people, CIA, and he goes, "Oh, he's so happy to see him." And he goes, "This is David Pecker. He's the head of the National Enquirer. He knows more about shit than any of you guys in this room." Like he thought that was real. He thought that was really funny, and Pecker recalls that nobody else in the room laughed. So
Trump's just like,
I mean, I was a businessman doing business.
what? This guy got more secrets than you do.
Yeah, he has all of mine. That's for sure.
Yeah, no shit, right? Like, and I'm your boss, so I'm right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, one last Trump clip for the week. Oh, damn it! I didn't do anything right.
I was talking about Charlottesville. Charlottesville was a little peanut, and it was nothing compared, and the hate wasn't the kind of hate that you have here. This was talking about Charlottesville.
Talking about the protests in Colombia.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Comparing to Charlottesville.
Charlottesville was a little peanut.
Oh, it was a little peanut, just like his vice president's wife, Carrot. Remember?
Yeah.
Mike Pence and his wife, Carrot.
So just somebody, running over a person with their car.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, I'm sorry. To this date, has anybody been shot or ran over by the car at any of these
Colombia?
protests?
No, I
Yeah.
don't think so.
Okay,
No.
all right. Yeah, it was a little
Not that I'm
peanut.
aware of.
Yeah.
Looks like it's raining in New York right now, and they are arresting
What's that got to
protesters.
do with anything? Oh, what? Because it's raining?
Yeah.
Look, you can't be out here. You're gonna get a cold.
April showers bring May flowers.
What? Is it gonna be May? It's gonna be May tomorrow. Oh,
Tomorrow. Rabbit.
My rabbits in the morning. Yeah, okay, I gotta remember some of my rabbits. I got a good streak going on my rabbit months.
Nice.
Don't want to talk about this. Let's do two subjects and then we'll talk about the Kristi Noem stuff. So let's get into the rest of the right. This is back when the Colombia president was giving testimony in front of Congress. Yeah. This is a very Republican senator asking her questions.
Pretty clear it was the covenant that God made with Abraham. And that covenant was real.
Oh, it's just the House of Representatives. Never mind, Alan.
Clear. If you bless Israel, I will bless you. If you curse Israel, I will curse you.
What if you sneeze?
And then in the New Testament, it was confirmed that all nations would be blessed through you. So
a few hundred years later, they got around to it. They're like, by the way, we've updated it. We got a new program going out.
We
You're
got
all gonna be blessed.
yeah, inclusivity. We got the DEI thing already. Yeah.
so you do not know about that.
I have heard that now that you've.
Wait, what's the book with the Deuteronomy, Ecclesiastes, and what's an I book?
Isaiah,
DEI.
Explained it. Yes, I have heard that.
Deuteronomy. Do you remember that? Genesis. Wait, hold
Yes.
on. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy.
Familiar. Do you consider that a serious issue? I mean, do you want Columbia University to be cursed by God of the Bible?
He clarified it. God. Wait. Of the
Which
Bible.
God? Of the Bible.
Of the Bible, Alan. Fucking
Not Zeus.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Oh, that's good.
I feel like we've played that clip before, but I'm not sure. But
No.
just the I don't know how to say this, but the lack of self-awareness and the balls to say that on the House floor when you're interviewing, like what the fuck, dude?
Yeah,
that is so crazy.
From the Bible.
Yeah, the God of the Bible.
The God of the Bible. Oh, let me do this. This is the song I was referencing.
Friends, this is Smiley, Ivan, Old Testament, Synchronic Media, John, and
Shut up.
Peter second.
Shut.
Books of the Bible in Second Samuel.
Oh my God!
They're not really doing
So
it now.
I had it. Oh, the original. Here we go.
That's undeniable. Genesis.
This is not the version.
Is that like the SpongeBob version?
Oh no.
What is this?
Along with me, come on and sing the books of the Bible. Come on and sing the B-I-B-L-E.
Sound right.
Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus.
No.
I'm not sure anymore. That one sounded right to me, but I don't know.
No.
That wasn't it. That wasn't the jam.
No. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, and then what? Samuel, Job.
That sounds right.
Okay.
Samuel,
Judges.
Joshua judges Ruth.
That's right, because Joshua judge Ruth.
Yeah.
And 7, 8, 9. Let's spin the fuck out of this one, Alan. I'm gonna write down 240 Bible talk.
You know, this is the kind of varied content you come to Untaken for.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And it's definitely not why it's always 3 hours. God damn it.
Your camera is not on.
Wow. I don't know why it did that.
There you are.
Here. I assure you, I am not a cat.
Are you a castrated cat though? Do you know?
I'm not. No, but a lot of people wonder what it means to be a castrated cat.
Yeah, it's a very many philosophers have been
A lot of
spending
people
countless
think about
decades really.
that. Many people are saying, "What is it like to be a castrated cat?" Okay. Washington. These are state senators or the state house in Washington saying that they want to be sure that they are not a democracy.
Want to be a democracy. Originally, congressmen were elected by a direct democracy, senators were elected by their state legislatures, and presidents are elected by the Electoral College. We are devolving into a democracy because now congressmen and senators are elected by the same pool, a direct democracy. And with the national popular vote coming, we're going to be electing our president by a direct democracy too. Bad idea.
The bad idea is sticking your right arm out for emphasis when you're
I was
speaking in public
noticing
on
that.
this. Jesus.
Oh, why would
yeah.
you be worried about the presidential election being non-electoral college and rather just being a popular vote? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
So I'm sympathetic to some of the thoughts of that, but not for the reasons she's presenting it. And I feel like that's become a popular thing to say lately, and it's because the word Democrat is in the word, right? Or is same derivative. We want a republic because I'm a Republican, which means I would like a fascist leader like Donald Trump to be in charge. Like, sorry, authoritarian. I always get carried away.
You go too far.
And I always go too far. Speaking of going too far, we're gonna do it. Some people, you just get a little carried away. You go a little too far, and you pray about it, and then you write a tell-all book, and you let everyone know while you're the leading runner for vice president candidate that you're a part-time dog killer.
Governor Kristi Noem is responding to criticism after admitting to shooting and killing her young, happy, jubilant, joyful puppy, and then deciding to.
They're not throwing those words in. Those are in the description in that chapter, in that section of the book.
She wrote her own autobiography, included this story, because
imagine the editors are just like, hey, or she's like to the editors, look, I kind of pushed it here, but I wanted to come across as like a strong woman. You know, I kind of have I have some thoughts about this section. No, fuck it. Nobody reads these things. Like,
I'm a strong, independent country woman.
I don't need no dog. Let me prove it to you.
Throw him in the ditch. That seems good to me.
A gravel pit.
Gravel pit, yes.
Yeah.
To kill a goat after that with her gun.
And then bragging about it.
It's one of the more staggering stories I've ever seen a politician put in a book, thinking this would actually make them look strong.
They had to report on Mitt Romney leaving his dog. So the thing with Romney was, people say Mitt Romney left his dog on top of the car. No, Romney had a specially designed dog crate that would sit on the back of his car, on the roof of the car. He says because the dog liked it, but that's not the way that got reported. Is he forgot and left his dog on the roof of the car? Like, no, when they would travel, and the story was the dog got diarrhea, and they didn't know till they got to the next stop that he'd been shitting down the back of the car the whole way, which is a funny story. But I mean, they had to like spit shine that to make that look like a smear piece, right? And she's just like, no, let me tell you, I killed my dog with a gun. Oh, it was a puppy, and right before I described it as jubilant, like.
Happy and joyful.
Yeah.
And I just murdered it because
it wouldn't learn, and it wasn't good for hunting. And it after an initial incident, right after, she didn't have it on a leash, and it got into the chickens. A fucking bird dog, a wire-haired pointer, like I believe it was a wire-haired GSP. Like it's literally bred to get birds. Like
it's its job.
And it's a puppy still, so you haven't trained it well. And some dogs aren't good for training for that. You're right. So you find people that don't have kids and would love a loyal friend,
or
like
chickens,
and would love, like, you don't just find the local gravel pit and shoot the dog twice because you missed the first time. Which
I mean,
so it wasn't all these stands that came out there because she's so fucking pretty, and we're like, look, if you shoot an animal, it's a clean. You know, they'll be dead before they know it, blah, blah, blah. You know what? She didn't. So what's your fucking point now?
I mean, you can't make this shit up, man. I mean, it's such an own goal to put it in your own autobiography. It's just wild.
Most remarkable part of it is, and we can get serious here for a half second. The most remarkable part of it is that the conservative movement has been so corrupted by Donald Trump and has reached such new lows that she actually put that in about the killing of a happy puppy because she thought it would help her with the base.
South Dakota Governor.
So I first heard this on Friday driving home, and I put it in the group chat. once I was done driving. I put it in the group chat saying, guys in the group chat will back me up. I was like, guys, I really don't want this to be true. I can tell how this is hitting me emotionally.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this here. If you guys can, nobody really backed it up or anything on it. Everybody I think kind of was pretty repulsed by it. It's like,
It's a repulsive story. Yeah.
I don't want to know that. And then I didn't deal with those thoughts until it grabbed some traction over the weekend. And by Sunday, it was kind of everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
Like you had said, just to brag about that and to, while you're the leading candidate to be vice president, now she doesn't have a dog in the race, Alan.
Jesus. Too soon, man.
Working towards that. Not soon enough.
Actually, the story is pretty old. This happened not recently. It was some years ago, I think.
Yeah, they're like, okay, you really want to do this? I guess we'll bring this out into the public. So a little bit about this.
How do you think Michael Vick would feel about this story?
See, that's the thing. Like, nobody gives a fuck whether Dustin on None Taken podcast forgives Michael Vick, but
Right.
my thing was fine, he shouldn't be in prison anymore. That seems excessive. I can't forgive you for, and he had the rest of his NFL career, and I was just like, if you want to be in my fantasy league, and I didn't enjoy games.
That whole story.
I could never forgive him for forcing dogs to fight and killing and being involved in the killing of animals.
I was a fan of his.
I know, me too. That's why it pissed me off.
Yeah, was it Virginia Tech he went to? I think?
Yes.
Yeah, I was a huge fan of his in college.
I had to play him in the video game because you're unstoppable.
Yeah. So that story was really, it was pretty crushing.
And let's be real about this. It was the early 2000s, and he was an insanely good black quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
It was just everything that was right with how the culture was moving forward.
Yeah.
God, that hurt me. I had such high hopes for. Okay, sorry. You got me.
It was so fun to watch, man, in college. I remember.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to talk about football.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a writing prompt here and then some thoughts, and the writing prompt will bring me back on track. So it's an NPR headline. Why did Christie shoot her dog? The dog was dangerous to anyone she came in contact with, less than worthless. These are in quotes. Less than worthless. Less than worthless as a hunting dog. I realized I had to put her down. So Natasha's response to this was really impressive to me. First of all, I felt so bad that I showed her this. I hated the way I saw her react to it. But while she's appalled, her first thought was, I want to know the rest of the psychopath assessment on this woman, because it's not that she said that. It's not that she did that. It's that she's saying that. She has no remorse. She doesn't understand. You don't understand. You didn't understand the way all of us would react to knowing that about you. So what else is true? Was there a major head injury as a child? Was there bedwetting involved? Right? Was there a domineering parent? Is there other harm? Because we got the harm to animals, right?
Yeah,
we got the lack of remorse. I mean, she sounds like a textbook psychopath.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the story arc of Dexter, I think.
Natasha's probably got a way to correct every word I've said in here talking about her forte, but head injury, bedwetting, domineering parent, and harm to animals and lack of remorse.
It's pretty scary. And she's the leading candidate for a VP in one of our two major political parties.
And there's not even parts of South Dakota where she's allowed to be, because the tribes there have been like, no, you're not welcome on the res. I guess that wasn't really an and. That was sort of a neither here nor there. But
right, no, I think it fits. Yeah, it's useful context.
Hey, we are a Rudy Giuliani theme podcast.
Right.
Did you hear that Rudy's trying to bring up the old Ukraine extortion plot again?
No,
the whole thing. Trump got impeached twice, and one of them was over Rudy Giuliani's promise that there's a server in Ukraine and that there's a whole extortion plot going on there, right?
Right. The perfect phone call.
Oh, damn it. I keep closing the windows so that we can be bigger in the videos. So I clicked play already. I can't rewind it. He says, when they were hatching the...
When he was informed of Hillary coming up with the false plot, It should begin with him, and it should include Brennan. It should include Biden, the vice president, who approved it and helped out. They should bring over from Ukraine about 20 Ukrainian witnesses. I can get them that are still being held.
Igor and
Igor.
Lev Parnas aren't working for you anymore. In fact, they were facing charges because of your promises.
Yeah.
There.
How drunk do you think he is right now? I mean, it's on record how bad his alcoholism has gotten.
Yeah. He's like, I can get him.
I can get him. Yeah.
Get
This is like what Mike was talking about on the show last Wednesday on the Patreon show.
Mhm.
This is what Mike Burns was talking about, the guy at the bar, right? That Carl, I got 40 people in Ukraine that'll testify.
Oh, yeah, totally.
That's not true.
I found out very recently are in fear of death, and somebody should lean on Zelensky. You want another penny? Give us your Biden. Give us your Biden file.
This just give us your Biden file. You want another penny? I mean, the fall from grace of this man, America's mayor from 9/11.
Mayor of 9/11.
You can't
always say it wrong.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I think there's some brain chemistry off in there too. Maybe it's the years of alcoholism, but
Yeah. Turns out being the mayor during a terrorism attack doesn't necessarily translate to you being a great leader.
turns out.
Yeah.
As it turns out. Yeah.
But he was tough on crime and prosecuted using RICO laws, which weird wrinkle with Trump overlap. Here is David Pecker. Here's Andrew Weissman. Andrew Weissman talking about revelation during David Pecker's testimony. And so this is, we're on Best of the Left now.
Okay.
So this is on MSNBC. Who's this guy on the left? He's a funny face.
I know his name, but I can't think of it. He has the Way Too Early show.
Okay. So Andrew Weissman is on the liberal MSNBC talking about how shocking it was for David Pecker to describe the way that the media outlets are in cahoots with the government or political candidates, right?
How damaging is this? It's, we knew all of this, a lot of it over the years. It's a reminder, though, of how ugly it is and a look behind the curtain kind of the process and how the Trump campaign, according to David Pecker, worked directly with him and the National Enquirer to get these stories planted that could be damaging to his opponents in 2016. What did you hear in that testimony yesterday? Which way did it cut for you?
So I think there's both a legal aspect to that, and I think there's sort of a big picture aspect that might be viewed as sort of a political repercussions aspect. I thought what David Pecker said was truly shocking, and the only reason that I think we're maybe a little bit inured to what he had to say is because of Fox News and Dominion. Let's step back. What he said was that a media outlet, even if it's considered maybe a down market media outlet, was in cahoots with one political candidate. That is what happens in Russia. That is not what is supposed to happen here.
This is on MSNBC. This is the channel that has an entire show hosted by the former press secretary for the current administration, the guy who is currently running against Donald Trump. Like he's like, this is what happens in Russia. This is what happens. You don't want to see this happen in America. Not on the channel I'm on right now.
So that was Jonathan Lemire. That's his show.
You know what, Alan? It wasn't the time that I cared for the.
I know. I just had to tip it in there.
If that's your retort to me saying that
no. So I think
I'm writing down a win. Hold on, Dustin. One. Okay,
so this same channel also has Nicole Wallace, who was a communications director in
Nicole Wallace, who got shut down by Nancy Pelosi in an upcoming clip.
Oh, fun. She was also the communications director in the W. Bush administration. And they often have...
See why she had to get shot down by Nancy Pelosi.
They often have former heads of the RNC and such on there. So, I mean, and they attempted to hire, what's her name? That was a whole...
Ronna McDaniels? Yeah.
Ronna McDaniels, yeah. I don't know. I see your point. I get it. But I think that there's enough on the other side of that argument as well. So
Look, are you telling me it's a false equivalency?
perhaps
Okay, I agree with you, but it is funny.
it is funny. You're not
There's
wrong.
that Nicole Wallace lady. So Nicole Wallace, so Nancy Pelosi's on here just doing a very very forgettable interview about all the victories that Joe Biden's had and the economy numbers and all these things. And Katie Tur, not Nicole Wallace. Katie Tur says this.
We have to address those concerns, and Joe Biden is doing that.
There's the end of the
Created 9 million jobs in his term in office. Donald Trump has the worst record of job loss of any president. So we just have to make sure people know.
That was a global pandemic.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay, now I don't know because I've only heard that this is a good clapback. I actually haven't heard this. And I played it because I think it's funny to make fun of Nancy Pelosi being good at this. But the what do we always say though? Yeah, you're the president. Like there's going to be a challenge. Like you should
Rise to the occasion. That's the whole point.
Yes, if we get to vote on you in the year that a bad thing happens, we can vote for you because we liked the way you responded to it. When you scrapped the White House pandemic response team, and then this happens, we might judge you for having made a bad decision prior to a catastrophe.
And fairly so.
And Biden brought that unit back. And in that Time article that you're talking about, Trump's talking about scrapping it again, by the way, as all this birth it's coming back up in the news.
It's not surprising.
I know. So here's Nancy's response.
I didn't know
that. Saying that she's like, well, it was during the pandemic, though.
He had the worst record of any president. We've had other concerns in our country. If you want to be an apologist for Donald Trump, that may be your
strong
role,
words.
but it ain't mine. And he has the
think that
worst.
anybody can accuse me of that.
Let me just say, as the Speaker of the House, we put forth a $3 trillion.
That is, she's going to talk about it more. Sid. That is very spicy for Nancy.
It is.
Somebody put a nickel in grandma. Someone put a nickel in grandma.
If you're going to be an apologist.
Yeah. Put a nickel in your grandma?
No.
Okay. Okay. Explain it to me later. Here's Ilhan Omar being interviewed, walking. I don't know. This is a walk and talk interview. And they're asking if she has any concern for the safety of the Jewish students at the protests at Columbia University. And I think she has a very shitty response, but it's to be expected from this person.
How do you think this will translate to the Jewish students who are facing anti-Semitism here on campus?
So I actually met a lot of Jewish students that are
He's going to start off really good.
in the encampment. And I think it is really unfortunate that people don't care about the fact that all Jewish kids should be kept safe and that we should not have to tolerate anti-Semitism or bigotry for all Jewish students, whether they are pro-genocide or anti-genocide.
Oh, whether they're pro or anti-genocide. All Jewish students, even if they're pro-genocide.
Pro-genocide or anti-genocide. There's only two possible camps here. Clearly. There's no third options. This is a binary choice. People are being arrested in Colombia, by the way, right now.
So are they cleaning it up? I mean, they gave him a deadline of 2 p.m. yesterday.
Yeah.
They gave him a deadline of 2 p.m. yesterday.
Yeah, they've arrested dozens. It says they're all in riot gear. They got the zip tie handcuffs.
Is there like tear gas or anything like that?
All I've seen is zip tie handcuffs, riot gear, and people being put on buses. So I haven't seen any tear gas.
Well,
yeah.
That starts to rub against my natural instinct to not like the people that put people in those situations.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if they're able to pull that off without tear gas and escalating, I mean, that's
seems like a win.
Yeah. Yeah, and at some point, like, yeah, you guys ain't doing shit. Like,
right.
Dude, I mean, like, we haven't even talked about the fact that like they canceled graduations. Think about those students that graduated high school and their freshman year was COVID, and their senior year is this bullshit, right?
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
What disappointment.
I will keep my work out of this, but sometimes I spend some time at a Christian university in Nashville, and yeah, shocking. There has not been any disturbances there during this.
Yeah, USC, there was supposed to be like 65,000 people attending that graduation. They canceled.
He probably spent $300,000 on that degree.
Right. Well, they said they're still going to have like their, I guess, mini graduations in their own like departments or whatever.
Oh,
but they're not
yeah,
going to have
which
the
is a
full.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I got this. Oh, I didn't share it. This is a Biden clip. So
Black and white.
yeah, I think this is I think this is audio from when he was on Stern, but I'm not sure. So the claim is Biden talks about sending salacious pictures that were he's saying that women here, I'll play the clip.
I got put in that 10 most eligible bachelors list.
Because you were a United States Senator, you were a catch. Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
and a lot of lovely women, but women would send very salacious pictures, and I just give them to the Secret Service. I thought somebody would think I was, and I just gave up. I got put in that 10.
He didn't want to be a creep and have a drawer full of all these naked lady pictures. Thing is, he didn't have Secret Service protection in
As a senator?
Yes, yeah. So people are calling him out on this, saying, you know, he's Sleepy Joe making shit up again, right? I think there's another possibility here.
What's your theory?
Creepy ass Joe Biden still gave these pictures to the Secret Service. He'd be like, hey, Secret Service, hey, I got an envelope for you. Here's another batch. I know you guys like to jerk off while you're- This is pre-cell phones, Alan, you know? Hey. The perks of guarding the president. You get to jerk off to senators trim.
Oh, show title. Okay.
I think I have down here Stormy McDaniels is probably not. This is a library, I think is a good
That's
this
pretty
is
good.
This is library.
This is library.
Yeah, I think that's the winner so far.
That's
So you can have a good image there with like the mob of people and like the guy standing like Tiananmen Square style.
right.
This is library. What else we got here on the best of the left? Gave him to the Secret Service. Oh, I played the Nancy Pelosi clip already.
Okay.
Oh man, there's a lot from this Correspondence Dinner. We're kind of late in the show. Well, let's play a couple of clips. This Correspondence Dinner always sneaks up on us, right?
Yeah.
Like, you just wake up Monday morning or Sunday morning, you're like, oh, they did that thing again in DC. So all the press and celebrities go and turn Ugly Hollywood into like half decent Hollywood in DC for a night. Ugly Hollywood is slang for DC.
Mm-hmm.
Here's some Biden jokes.
Age is the only thing we have in common. My vice president actually endorses me. I had a great stretch since the State of the Union. Well, Donald has had a few tough days lately. You might call it stormy weather. What the hell? Trump's so desperate he started reading those Bibles he's selling. Then he got to the first commandment. You shall have no other gods before me. That's when he put it down and said, this book's not for me.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad.
You wanna
Colin
hear it?
Jost.
Here's the Colin Jost clips.
He did a really good job.
Yeah.
Can we just acknowledge how refreshing it is to see a president of the United States at an event that doesn't begin with a bailiff saying, all rise? And I would like to point out, it's after 10 p.m. Sleepy Joe is still awake. While Donald Trump has spent the past week falling asleep in court every morning. Though Fox News said he was just being anti-woke.
Sleeping joke.
We are all here tonight at Nerd Prom.
That's what they call it.
Well, Matt Gaetz is at regular prom, but I actually thought I saw Matt Gaetz here tonight, but it was actually just my own reflection in a spoon. Like many of you here tonight, I pretend to do news on TV.
This one.
It's pretty good.
For the last line. Wait for it.
My weekend update co-anchor, Michael Che, was going to join me here tonight, but in solidarity with President Biden, I decided to lose all my black support.
Hold on.
Che told me to say that, and I'm just realizing I was set up.
They brought the bit into the thing. They did the thing, Alan.
They did the thing. It was pretty good. I thought he did a really good job.
I got one more quick one from that.
Okay.
Oh man.
Being here is a reminder that folks think what's going on in Congress is political theater. That's not true. If Congress were theater, they'd have thrown out Lauren Boebert a long time ago.
Oh, what's he talking about, Alan?
Come.
Her cat was named Vagina.
Guess what? Just giving handies in theaters, you know.
Continue to create calm.
I always forget about that one. And Beetlejuice musicals, Alan.
Right.
Fucking Beetlejuice musical.
It's another battle in the culture wars. Oh, not the culture wars. They're worried about a culture war. Culture wars. Stop with the culture wars.
Nailed it. I nailed it.
Nailed it.
That's my best one yet. Let's play a little real Ryan Macbeth talking about, you hear it said in a way that if you don't pay attention or you're like, it just, if someone outside of us tells you MTG is repeating Russian talking points, you'd be like, okay. But like, there's actually something to this. And here's how they pull it off.
Someone on Twitter asked me about this New Republic article, asking have Russian operatives paid any Republican officials. Now, while there's a non-zero chance of that, it's not Russia's style to be so overt, and I think most politicians would not take the money. So let me show you how this could work. Russian proxies can pay for internet ads that are hyper-focused on Marjorie Taylor Greene's district. Since this is a mostly rural district, you can say, hey, I know that you're not getting farm aid, but we're sending farm aid to Ukraine, and it doesn't matter if it's true. So then people call or email their representative. Now, in the U.S. House of Representatives, you're elected every 2 years, so you're constantly raising money. So if a bunch of constituents call you and say, why are we giving money to Ukraine when my farm is on the brink of foreclosure, you tend to listen. So I don't think it's likely that some of these politicians are compromised. They're just doing what their constituents are asking them to do. And some of them can even see the big picture and do the right thing. But usually when people straight up take bribes, we catch them and it doesn't work out well for the defendant.
So like, who's that Democrat guy up in New York they showed? I forgot his name. It's fine.
I don't see any cash trading hands.
Yeah.
Someone on Twitter asked.
And one thing he didn't get into is a lot of the ways that they've said that this gets done is there's these like agents that do that, right? However, they're hired.
It's like the Internet Research Agency, right? They troll people. They try
and then they get someone to repeat it. Once they can tell it's caught on, they delete the initial post.
Mm-hmm. So there's no trail anymore.
Yeah.
Seems like it was organic.
And there is a little thing called screenshots, but yeah.
And the Wayback Machine.
And the Wayback Machine. Love the Wayback Machine. That doesn't get talked about enough. I don't know that. Do you think everybody knows about the Wayback Machine?
Probably not.
Describe it while I load this clip.
So it's a way you can go back and look at like what was posted on Twitter before somebody deleted it, essentially.
The Internet Research Archive or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Invasion more frequently.
So this is a word that we were pretty quick to key in on months back. Now Washington Post, New York Times, whoever posted this is doing a little expose on it.
Republicans are using the term invasion more frequently this election cycle to describe the high number of migrants crossing the nation's southern border.
The invasion at our southern border.
It's more than just an invasion of illegals. You've seen the invasion at our southern border. It's worse than you think.
We are seeing it in campaign ads, in remarks, in the halls of Congress, and on social media. This rise in the word captures how intractable the issue of immigration has become as both parties have failed to really overhaul the nation's immigration laws. Historians and those who study...
Oh, wait, hold on. No, both parties didn't fail to overhaul immigration laws. They actually came to a bipartisan bill to overhaul immigration laws. And then Trump said, I don't like that because it's not good for my campaign. Just clarifying.
That's NPR. Why do you think people don't trust you?
Have failed to really overhaul the nation's immigration laws. Historians and those who study political rhetoric say the word is dangerous because it dehumanizes those it describes and can be used to stoke violence. Throughout the entire 2022 election cycle, Republicans up and down the ballot used the word 22 times in television ads. In just the last few months of this election cycle, we've seen it in 20 television ads, in television ads, in races for House, Senate, governor, and the word invasion is most dominantly being used by former President Trump in the presidential election.
With your vote, I will seal the border. I will stop the invasion. I will end the carnage.
Trump made immigration his signature issue in 2016. He has referred to migrants in very ominous terms.
They're poisoning the blood of our country.
Portrayed them as faceless masses.
Our country is being invaded by people nobody even knows who they are, where they come from.
And really pushed this idea in invasion through hundreds of Facebook ads. And since then, Republicans have only followed suit.
We have a border invasion.
President Biden's open border policies that have fueled the invasion.
We good? Do you want to hear more?
Yeah, we're totally good. No, I think it's enough. Yeah, I mean, political parties do that on both sides of the aisle, where they come up with talking points and certain adjectives or words to use that they think pull well, and they think that will move their base. So that's not surprising.
And like we get flooded by genuine accounts that we have friendships with, and like just whenever I have a conversation about immigration with people and it's a new conversation, very quickly into it for certain sectors, they'll say, so you don't think this is an invasion, or don't you see this as an invasion? And once that happens, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not even talking to like someone who thinks for themselves.
No.
Like chances are I still give them the benefit of the doubt.
Sure.
But like that's a huge like, all right, if you get 2 more of these, and then it's like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, we know that there are ways to hack humans' brains, and politicians are really good at it.
yeah,
So,
it's their
there you go.
entire stock and
Yeah.
trade. Yes. I meant to play this a couple of weeks ago,
Okay.
and I don't care how long the show gets. This was gonna like close out our culture wars. I think I have a different sound to close it out. I just don't want to forget to play this. So this was evangelical pastor talking about politics and religion.
Some of you bring politics into the church. You think that politics is spiritual stuff. Politics is of this world. You think it's your duty to be political about this, that, and the other. No, your duty is to serve the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, body, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. Don't be talking to me about my spiritual responsibility to vote. I don't have a spiritual responsibility to vote. I have a civic privilege. Don't be telling me that voting is spiritual. See, that's what happens when you don't read and pray. When you don't read and pray, you say, wow, there's a Bible out now that includes the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Isn't that wonderful? No. No, it's disgusting. It's blasphemous. It's a ploy. Are you kidding me? Some of you are so encouraged by that. Let me tell you something. The gospel is not an American gospel. It is the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ.
I mean, we can stop it there.
Yeah, I think it stops there. Okay.
I mean, I appreciate that he's saying that, but he is a very rare bird. In that evangelical movement. There are very few pastors that would be willing to come out and say something like that because they know it would alienate, more
You
than
know
half.
what? It's still not a majority. It's the loud people in that crowd.
You know what? You might be right about that. That's potentially that's true. Potentially that's true. But the ones with the megaphones don't seem to be saying things like that. And every
Because
time
we don't want to be. Let's talk about why. It's because it's not long ago that we were tribal creatures, and we don't
Sure.
want to be shunned from our tribe. it's in our DNA to not want to be cast away.
Well, and also a lot of these mega churches understand where their bread is buttered. They're not gonna, piss those people off.
That's right.
But it just always disgusts me when I see the opposite of that happening on that side, because I like to think that I have a pretty good understanding of how people on that side of the aisle generally think, growing up in that sort of community. And it just blows my mind when I see that, them saying Trump Bible is the coolest thing ever. It's just like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because we grew up in that, right?
Yeah.
It's
And that never would have flown.
correct. It would have
Ever.
been seen as false idol. And
Yep.
just,
Yep.
I mean, I'm in the 90s. That's the way they would have described it, right?
Absolutely.
Well, one more culture war clip. I think this will end the show. We'll ask you a question.
Hey guys, it's Moose again, and I'm gonna need y'all to help me make sense of something. I saw this comment from Kathy, and boy, y'all don't know the half of this. Biden and his little minion Pete Buttigieg are making it so the airlines have to automatically refund you cash money if your flight's delayed or canceled. And y'all, I don't even know where to start. I mean, now, instead of all the airlines having wildly different refund policies and definitions of what a significant change to your flight's supposed to mean, now we're just supposed to get our money back in full, in cash, no questions asked.
Thanks, Joe.
I mean, make that make sense, y'all. Make that make sense to me, because I just can't see it, y'all. I, for one, like knowing that when I board a plane, fully recline my seat and queue up my favorite season of Downton Abbey, the one where Lady Edith leaves her child with the pig formers, I know my money is safe with the airline company, and they're going to do with it what they see fit. I don't need Biden telling the airlines what they can do with my hard-earned money. I mean, make that make sense, y'all. How about y'all just don't buy tickets for a flight that could get delayed or canceled?
Yeah.
That's why I get up at the butt crack of dawn and get on the first plane out. I want to earn my on-time flight. Y'all ain't smart enough to book a trip properly. Maybe y'all ain't smart enough to have all that cash on you in the first place. I mean, I got some suggestions for you, Buttigieg. Why don't y'all just tell the TSA to chill out a little bit so I don't have to spend 45 minutes trying to explain to them about my emotional support pocket knife? Don't get me started on the FAA, guys. The OSHA of the sky. I used to work 9.5 hour days when I was getting
Do I let this keep going?
I think it's enough. I think it's enough. The sarcasm is pretty impressive.
my HVAC business off the ground. And I ain't going to say it wasn't tough on me. But if the FAA and Buttigieg had their way, I wouldn't have a business because I'd have to take a rest whenever Biden told me to.
Okay, all right.
God bless.
Oh no, that
United
comes at the end of the
States.
sound at the end. All right. Yeah, I guess that's it. Ask you a question?
Yeah. Yes.
You don't. I mean, you don't have anything on that, do you?
No, I don't. Other than
I bet he had
sarcasm,
another
it's
funny clip
impressive.
about how we don't have to not work for our competition anymore. Or what was that?
Oh, the non-compete.
Non-competes. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a big deal.
It
And
was.
actually, there's got referenced in the show. And we didn't talk about it. They're talking about dropping weed out of Schedule 1 narcotics. That
Yeah.
was when they didn't change it in 2015. It was a huge shock. I couldn't believe that. So
Yeah, they've been talking about it recently for a while, and so now it looks like it's actually going to happen.
What's gonna happen when one of them mosquitoes bites into one of them zombie cicadas?
Oh no! And what if they have like malaria and dengue also? Like, and you get like the trifecta, and you get like the fungus controlling your brain. Your dick falls off. And
Oh,
then
that's
you
dengue fever. Try to say.
Cheers.
I got the dengue fever.
That was fun. All right, man. I'll see.